Welcome back once again, everybody, to the Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. Kevin Pollak's. I am, of course, Chat Show. How are you? What's happening with this shirt? Anybody?
Missed a button.
The buffer gag doesn't work if the guest puts his hand over my face. All right. Welcome back to the show. I think he got frightened that I might have lost it, passed out.
There's going to be a lot of interruption, I believe.
Yes.
I don't think he's going to be able to
Did
sit
the
still.
joke again? Sorry, I wrote it.
There we go. These are clues and hints in case you didn't know who the guest was today. Are you watching us live on the YouTube here today on August 4th, the first Sunday in the August? I hope you join us at some point in the future. We've got some great guests coming up. Just dial us up. I usually tweet the exact link to click on so you can watch us live, or just go to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show on the YouTube. How are you watching us? These are the emails we want to get. Contact at kevinpollakschatshow.com. That's theme song, again, provided by Brian Tyler. You know, I rarely give Brian credit. It's been
award-winning composer, Brian Tyler.
4.5 years. I think he did the Iron Man. Iron Man 3.
He did.
I love Brian Tyler.
Now, again, try to guess who that is.
Just what he sounds like.
New episodes dropping every Tuesday on earwolf.com. We love that we're a part of the Earwolf family. How do you do the show? How do you consume us? Please write to us and let us know. Sammy?
Yeah, buddy.
What the fuck?
What the fuck, indeed?
You're off to Toronto soon. I understand you'll be losing the beard.
It's got to go.
It's got to go.
It's got to go. It will not be here next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's have get a couple of close-ups of it.
Farewell party for the old...
Perfect.
The little Wolverine.
The little Wolverine. But you had the nickname before the beard.
I did.
So.
But the beard was initially what inspired it years ago. I let the beard grow in a little bit some years ago, and that's what Doug...
I think people who know you, or just pass by you and see your hairline, know that you can grow a pretty good growth in about 5 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
Not unlike John Hamm.
Not unlike a young John Hamm.
Yeah.
As I often
One of the
think
many
myself.
things they have in common. Same shoe size.
That's also true.
Oh.
That is not true.
No.
But I'm going to miss it. It's been a great summer beard.
Nothing quite like a sweater on your face in the summer.
No.
I'll say.
You know, Judd Apatow, not to name drop or anything, used to grow beards only in the winter.
Because to stay warm.
To stay warm in the cold Los Angeles winters. And I used to give him shit because he would have the beard, and then I would see him in the summer months and no beard. And I would say, "What's the deal?" He'd say, "I only grow them in the winter."
Right.
And then right around the time he started making features,
Ah.
all the time beard.
All the time
All
beard.
beard all the time.
All beard all the time. And I was like, "What gives?" And he goes, "I'm not on camera."
Yeah.
That was his excuse.
Get off my junk.
I'm not on camera.
Yeah. See, I met Judd when he was a stand-up and 14 years old.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a beard then.
Well.
My makeup artist told me years ago, Kate Shorter, who was our makeup artist the first couple of years on
Until
the
she
show.
left us to go work with Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy's makeup artist. I can't make that claim anymore. Anyway, she said facial hair on a man ages him 10 years, which is why I don't normally have facial hair.
I'm bored.
Finally,
I lost the under.
The inner monologue.
I lost the under. I said 4 minutes. It's 4:09.
The inner monologue of all of our guests
Finally.
finally comes out of someone.
All right, Jamie, last chance to chime in until we get to her.
Oh, no, please, get to the guest.
Yeah,
He's way
please.
more entertaining.
All right. Questions sent to us at contact at Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. And write us a damn review, you sons of bitches, on the iTunes. We had our first live recording of Talkin' Walkin' at the West Side Comedy Club last Thursday. It was a smashing hit with Dana Gould. I want to thank him
He's
for that.
delightful.
He is.
It was a tremendous show. Make sure you download it.
Yep. Go to talkingwalkin.com or the iTunes. Walkin' spelled like talking, I-N instead of E-N, so his family can't sue me. My guest today, we're trying to figure out beforehand how far back we go. And I remember it being 86, but I think he's about to disagree. Please welcome Jon Lovitz. You said 84? You held up a 4?
No, I remember the very... First of all, thank you for having me on your show. And I just want to say how impressed I am
With?
that your sidekicks are Nathan Detroit and Ray Charles. It's like, I would never know in a million years that's Jamie Foxx. Like, never. And I thought Sam Levine was dead. In Guys and Dolls, and that's your sidekicks. It's like,
Yeah.
it's very impressive.
It's what we do. Yeah. And what else would you like to say?
What'd I say?
You like to remember all my little asides
Well, you make me laugh, Kevin.
over the years and then throw them back at me 15 years later when I
Yes.
forgot that I used to say that. So apparently I used to say something to someone. They would give me that sort of face, like confusion, and I'd say, what did I say? Was that it? Was that the bit?
What'd I say?
What'd I say? What'd
Well,
I say?
because you'd say something and I go, really? You know, what'd I say?
Oh, right. That's right. I got a little frustrated by people constantly saying really.
We met in 1984. I remember when I met you, you were doing a sketch show. And,
With Jan
oh,
Hooks.
no, it was 85. And I got Saturday Night Live, and then I went with Jan, I went with Jan Hooks to visit the show.
Right. Because she had started there on the show.
Remember, and I
was
met you, and she says, my friend Kevin Pollak, and you were dressed as a waiter.
there. I'll say.
That's what I remember.
I think I was also waiting tables at the time.
No, but you were
Comedy
doing
Break
some
with Mac and Jamie was the name of the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, what year was that? That's when we met.
Yeah, it'd be 85. You son of a bitch. You're right again. Damn it. Here's my first question for you. Assuming for a moment that you changed your name from Jonathan to John in hopes of not being outed as a Jew, why didn't you work on affecting a less Jewy tone?
Oh, is this your question?
Yes.
You wrote this? An idiot. First of all,
Yes?
I tried to hide my Jewishness, and I kept my last name Lovitz. And then the Jewy tone, that's just how I talk.
I like Jonathan, though. Jonathan Lovitz.
Well, growing up, I was Johnny, and then when I was 12, my parents said to me, Johnny. I go, no, Mom, it's John. I'm not Johnny anymore. She was like, oh.
When you were 12?
I wanted to be adult. Yeah, I go, John.
What'd you want to be?
John. I just talk like that. I don't know why.
No, when
My
you...
mom talks like that. My grandmother's mother is from Hungary, so she came to this country when she was 14. Hungary, the country. And then English was her second language, and that's just how she spoke. And her and my Aunt Ray, they're very, very, very funny. And that's just how they talked. And my mother's sister, my Aunt Sandy, she spoke more like that, like a caricature of my mother. And she'd go, well, you know, I ate the whole pie. You ate the whole pie? Whole pie. I mean,
This is where you learned your characters.
yeah,
Just sitting around the
I
table.
just hear my mother talk, and she's just very naturally very funny. But
What if your mother had answered the really with, what did I say? Would have been great. You wouldn't have needed me.
No, but it's what I say. You can't even do your own catchphrase right. By the way, I'm very excited to be here, and I wrote 2 songs.
Okay, good.
For the
Do you
show.
own the publishing rights before you sing them? Because I don't want to pay any royalties.
They're very short songs.
All right, go ahead.
So this first song is honor of your chat show, and I knew you were going to ask me stuff. So this is the first song. What? That's the first song. And then the second song is, I made this up years ago.
Yes, you
Ready?
did. My friend.
Kevin Pollak, alcoholic Kevin Pollak. That's the second song.
Now, you don't own the publishing rights to that.
Yes, I do.
Parody.
Do you remember the story behind that? I left that message on your voicemail, and your mom heard it.
Yes.
You told me. And
Yes.
she goes,
She said, I don't realize you had a problem drinking. And I said, it's not a problem at all.
yeah, and you said, no, Mom, that's just
But
my
didn't-
friend,
but
John.
didn't Nicolas
That's
Cage-
just how he is, and she didn't believe you.
How did Nicolas Cage torment you using my name? Dana told me this from the set of the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Nicolas Cage and I and Dana, we played brothers. Ridiculous.
Only in the motion picture
yeah,
business.
in Trapped in Paradise.
Yeah.
So
But why?
I had just gotten the cartoon. It just started airing the Critic.
Yes.
So I don't know. Somehow he found out. If you remember this, you and I used to go up for a lot of the same parts.
Yeah.
And either you'd get it or I'd get it.
Right. And everybody else was fucked.
Yeah. And then sometimes it was like, you go, God, John, you're doing these great comedies. I go, yeah, but Kevin, you get to work with these great dramatic actors, and
Right. It was never the right part.
you know, but I remember the Critic came on. So Kevin, I don't know, maybe Dana
I think Dana fueled
must
it.
have said that
think
you and I
Dana-
were competitive,
Yes.
which we were not.
No.
I was always like happy for you, and
Yeah.
I never felt like I was competing against you, but for some reason.
And I was certainly mostly happy for you.
Yeah,
But I think
but
Dana.
So Nicolas Cage made up this song. He'd go, Pollak, and I was doing the Critic. Pollak, Kevin Pollak. not the critic, not Magoo. Oh, because I'd done this article about the critic, and I go, I didn't want to do it at first. I don't want to end up as like, Mr. Magoo.
Because it was
And
animated.
then he just like grabbed that one. Pollock, Kevin Pollock. Not the critic, not Magoo.
And of course, for me, I hadn't met Nick Cage. Didn't know that he knew I existed.
Yeah, he was.
And the fact that he had written a song featuring my name to torture you made me maybe one
It didn't really torture me. It made me laugh.
Of course.
And he's a really nice. I'd met him a few times. Once I met him, I think he was hosting Saturday Night Live, and he went, "Oh, I'm a big fan of this." And then I got to work with him, and we had a lot of. Well, the three of us had fun, but the movie was like, the director was just a dick. He didn't do anything, and I'll say it. I don't care. I don't want to say his name.
He's been a guest on this show, and he and I wrote a movie together. It's not important.
He has not.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
He was a guest on the show?
Yeah.
Well, what were you thinking? So anyway, all he'd say is like, he goes, what do we want us to do? Get on the set. And he goes, do whatever you want. I go, what? Do whatever you want. Whatever you want. And I'm like, but we need some direction. You can't just do whatever you want. I go, what's the scene? Something. Mm-hmm. So, and then 6 weeks in, there was a scene. There's a car, and we rob a bank, and there's all this money in the car in these big bags. So we just got to take the bags out, change clothes. There's all this stuff that you have to work out,
Physical.
And he goes, just do whatever you want. And Nicholas was like, no, we can't just do whatever we want. You got to work it out. And Nicholas goes, okay, fine. So then he just kind of took over. And then after that, the three of us and Jack Green was DP, we just had to kind of take over. Right. Otherwise, he might disagree with that. He'll go, oh, I never knew my lines, which is not true.
I'm glad we could uncover this.
But anyway, I called it Trapped in Shit.
So if you go online looking for the movie, look up.
But
Trapped
years
in
later,
Shit.
I saw Nicholas. He goes, "You want to go to an Oscar party or something?" I go, "Yeah." So he's actually at my, and then I go, "I have to go to my house and change." I was at his house watching the Oscars.
Right.
So he goes, "You want to go to some parties?" I go, "Yeah." So he came to my house. So I had this Trapped in Paradise shirt in my closet. So I go, just wait, I got to change. So I put it on, and I came out, I go, hey, what do you think of this? And he went like, oh, no, take it off. He was like horrified. He didn't even think it was funny. He's like, please.
You were hurting his sensibility.
Well, it was a very tough movie to do. But it paid well.
Yeah. Are you sad in the one movie?
Are these your questions?
Yes, we did together. We don't have any scenes together. Did that sadden you? The one film we finally got to do together? You're trying to remember which one that might have been.
Wait, let me think.
I have clues for you.
Yeah, give me clues. I don't know. Go ahead. Was it Southland Tales?
No, sir. Elvis Presley was somehow involved.
3,000 Miles of Graceland. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were in that too.
Yeah.
I saw it once, like whenever, and I went, oh, there's Kevin.
Right.
Well, I would love to work with you.
I read a quote that you said that Kevin Costner was so fucking scary in his character, who was a sociopath.
Yeah, I thought he was mad at me.
That you thought he was mad at you.
Yeah,
he was just acting, though.
Well, I know, but what happened was I'd met him a bunch. He was friendly. He goes, and he called me. He goes, John, I'm doing this movie, and I have to kill somebody in this scene. And I said, it has to be Jon Lovitz. I'm like, oh, well, thank you. But he said, listen, there's no scene right now, but if I promise you, I'll write a scene and make it really dramatic. He goes, it'll only be like 3 pages, but it'll be really dramatic and a good scene. Would you want to do it? I said, yeah, are you kidding? I'd love to. He goes, all right, but I promise. I go, I believe you. So he wrote the scene. It was fun. So he plays a psychopath, and I'm in an antique store, the owner.
He kills you with arrows.
Right, and I'm trying to act all tough. Going,
which
look
is
at
hilarious.
you, and he's trying to get money from me, and I don't know that he's a psychopath. I don't know who he is. He's the wrong guy, I know. And then it just slowly starts revealing that. I go, something's off. And then he has this bow and arrow, and he goes, oh, you're a big game hunter, and there's all these heads around. I go, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I like to hunt, and I'm acting all tough. And he goes, yeah. And then he takes his bow and arrow, and goes, well, da-da-da-da-da. And he's pointing at me. But he was so real, like beyond real. I couldn't tell he was acting at all. And at one point, he was so like mad, and I really thought, fuck, he's really mad at me. And I went to him, I go, are you like mad at me? He goes, no.
In the scene, you said that?
No, after. They said, cut. I go, are you mad at me? He goes, no. He goes, I'm acting. I go, oh, I thought you really... He goes, no. I go, oh, I thought you were really mad at me. He goes, no, I'm acting. I went, oh. I go, I can't tell. I couldn't. He was so real. And you know, another person, but that's how great he was. It was almost like you're in a movie. Like, he really made you feel it. I really thought he was mad for some reason.
Right.
And because other people, they're good, but you can kind of tell they're acting, you know, but I couldn't tell. And the other one, I did this movie, The Wedding Singer. I had one scene, and with Adam Sandler has been great to me. So he goes, oh, you get to sing in a movie. Would you do me a favor? And I go, well, let me think about it. And this is before his movies had been big.
Right.
So I called him back. I said, yeah, you know what, Adam? I thought about it. You're asking me, do I want to sing in a movie? Yeah, I like to sing, and it'd be fun to work with you and Drew Barrymore. And I've known Drew, I met her in New York when she was like 11, so I knew her for years. So anyway, we're doing the scene, and then I have the part where I'm talking to her, and I'm just and she's talking to me, and I'm thinking, when is she going to start acting? I go, this is like, she's not even acting, you know.
Right.
And then in my head I went, you idiot, she is acting. You just can't tell. That's how great she is. I couldn't.
Yeah. How often is
I mean, she was so real. I mean, it was beyond.
Yeah.
You know, and you think, well, she's been doing it since she's 3.
effortless?
It was yeah.
Yeah. How often does that voice in your head, though, start with, you idiot, comma?
A lot.
Speaking of singing, one of us in this room has sung at Carnegie Hall 3 times.
Oh, 3 times.
Me.
3! 3!
3. Oh, you know that.
Yeah. 3!
The 3 thing is Dana and I would be on Saturday Night Live, and we became really close friends, but we would admit that we were competitive with each other.
Sure.
So one time, I know, William Shatner was hosting the show, and Dana looked at me and goes, John, I have 3 scenes in the show this week. 3!
Yeah. And I don't know why it's stuck in my brain also, but
It was very funny.
Yeah.
And but Carnegie Hall, yeah. Well, the first time you know, Carnegie Hall, you have the main Carnegie Hall, which is about 2,200 seats. Next door, there's a 400-seat theater called the Weil Recital Hall. It looks like a mini Carnegie Hall, beautiful, like a little jewel box. So they were doing a reading of this play, a musical, Very Warm for May by Jerome Kern. So the director, this guy John McGlynn, he produces albums of opera singers singing Broadway songs.
Wow.
Like Kiri Te Conaway is one of the most famous sopranos in the world. He did one with her, a lot of people. So he called me up and said, hey, I'm doing the show, and it's like about a family in New York. It takes place in the 40s, and the granddaughter runs away to like Long Island to do a play in a barn theater, and you're like the eccentric director. So I said, all right. So I go, yeah, that'd be fun. It's at Carnegie Hall. I go, yeah. He goes, it's 1 week. You read it. You don't have to learn anything. So I said, okay. So anyway, he goes, well, he came to California. He goes, I'll help you with it. So working on the music, and I said, you know, I can kind of sing fake opera. Do you want to hear it? He goes, sure, okay. So I started doing it, you know, like, you know, just fake. And he went, oh my God, you can sing? And he didn't even know I sang, and he called the assistant musical director named Bill Hicks, not the comic. And so he goes, Bill, listen to this. He goes, he can sing. And I was in New York rehearsing with Bill Hicks, and Bill Hicks would teach Pavarotti all of his music. And he said Pavarotti did not read music, you see. And I found all these stories. So I said, do you think I could be an opera singer? And he said, yes. I go, well, what would it take me, like 20 years? He goes, no, like 5. But he goes, you'd have to work at it every day like an Olympic athlete.
to stop faking and start really.
To really, yeah, because like I can sound good, but if my range is like this, an opera singer's like, you know, like times 10. I mean, they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but it was a lot of fun, and the chorus in the show was all opera singers. And they have a whole other world of show business. Like you know, there's movies and acting. And the opera world, it's the same thing, but it's of showbiz stories, but all about opera. So they told me this story, this girl, she goes, yeah, I'm the lead singer in Chicago, and they want me to go to them. I mean, I think she's she's big now. So she told me this story about Pavarotti, and she goes, you know, he's so heavy. So some very wealthy woman in New York invited him to lunch. She had this little teeny dog, I guess a miniature, I don't know, Yorkie, I don't know.
For the future, let's just call it
Or Pekingese. Or
Chihuahua.
something.
For the
No, it
future.
wasn't a Chihuahua.
Okay.
So anyway, they have lunch on this big puffy couch.
Was it a German Shepherd?
Big puffy couch. No, it's a teeny little dog.
Okay.
Anyway, they have lunch, Kevin, for like an hour and a half.
So not a Mastiff.
What'd I say? So it's a teeny little dog.
Uh-huh.
So anyway,
With tips?
they can't. With tits?
Keep saying it was a teeny little dog.
Did you say with tits?
Yes.
You did say that. My hearing's so bad. Sometimes I think I hear things wrong, but I actually did hear that right.
Yes, you did.
You said with tits?
Let's make more of a thing out of it.
Anyway, so it was a teeny little dog. So they have lunch for an hour and a half.
Yes.
And they can't find the dog.
No, it's not stuck in his ass cheek.
Yes.
No, it isn't.
He sat on it and it was stuck in his butt. He killed it. He smothered it the whole lunch. He sat on it. He didn't even feel it squirming. And I love animals, so it's a sad story, but
You brought one here today.
it's an opera story.
You're the first out of 178 guests we've had who brought their own dog.
Well, I actually love
Is
my
the dog in your pocket? What's happening? You getting a call? Do you need to take it?
No, I'll show you. I'll show you my screensaver.
Really?
The dog is in the next room.
Yeah, we could just bring the dog.
But we'd rather look at it on the screen.
That's actually, do you want to try to zoom in a little? Bring it back out. On your camera right here.
See, audio-only people, this is what you're missing.
Tilt the front forward a little.
This is what you're missing.
And then Kenny feel, oh, just in the nick. What's the dog's name?
Jerry Bruckheimer III.
I'm sorry, it sounded like you said Jerry Bruckheimer III.
What'd I say? Jerry Bruck, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm friends with Jerry, and I had a couple of cats. I named them after him and his wife. And then Linda, and then my cat passed away. And then I got he's a rescue dog, and so I got him, and his name was already Jerry, you see.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's helpful.
And he was very cute, and I was just looking where I got him was at a rescue pet store, and there used to be a regular pet store, so I went, oh, there's another pet store there. There hadn't been one for 3 years. So I went in, and there he was, and he just sat in my arms. It was very cute.
When was this?
So I got him about 1.5 years ago.
And it's working out?
Yes, I'm so crazy about him. And everybody I tell you, he's out there now, and all the people out there, I guarantee you there's someone that's going, can I keep him?
Yeah.
Everybody that meets him, 5 minutes ago, I have to have your dog.
You?
And know what I say? No.
Yeah.
No.
I was just going to say,
It's
you have
my dog,
very
but
strange
you can play with
friends
him.
who ask if they can have your dog.
Strangers say that.
Well, that I'll accept. Son of a doctor. I don't think we've talked enough about that. Honestly, it's such a big thing in the Jewish heritage somewhere. Is he a doctor? Is he But I don't know that I've ever met someone who is actually a son of a doctor, son of a pharmacist, son of a
ask you a
dentist.
question?
We have.
Is this particular show Kevin Pollak's Jewish chat show? There's a lot of Jewish questions.
You know what's funny? I just got an email.
I'm just a person. What is a Jew? Does he not bleed?
He bleeds easier.
Yeah, my dad was a doctor. His parents were from Romania. And my grandmother, actually from Hungary, was from Transylvania, which is now part of Romania. And yes, my aunt dated Bela Lugosi. Anyway, so they came from Romania. They were immigrants, and then my grandfather went to New York when he was like 15. He doesn't speak any English at all.
Sure.
15?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Then he was in the Army. Then he moved to Florida, Jacksonville, met my grandmother, and they got married. Now, the thing is, when he met my grandmother, she was not my grandmother. She was a young, beautiful woman.
Yeah, let's
about
hope.
19.
Right.
At the time, though, she was not my grandmother.
No, not at all.
And then, anyway, and my father wanted to be an opera singer, and my grandmother, his mother, said, no, you're going to be a doctor. And so he became a doctor. His brother became a doctor. My whole family's doctors. My dad was an internist. His brother's an internist. On my mother's side, my mother's uncle was an eye doctor, and then her brother wanted to be like him. So Robert Abraham is my uncle. He passed away, but he became a world-famous eye doctor.
Wow.
And any eye doctor, they used to say, this is my Uncle Robert Abraham. They're like, really?
They'd make that
Well,
face.
to me, he's Uncle Bob.
Sure.
And I asked my cousin Michael and my mom, I go, was he really a world-famous eye doctor? They go, oh, yeah. And my mom would say, she goes, yeah, he was frustrated because he'd speak to his mother, my grandmother, and say, she goes, oh, you're so nice, Bob. I love you, so I'm proud of you. He goes, but I'm a world-famous eye doctor. She's like, yeah, I know, but I don't care about that. I think that. He goes, but what about the fact that he invented a lens. It's any eye doctor knows called the Abraham lens. And he's one of the first eye doctors to work with lasers, and it's a lens that you shoot the laser through, and it's for cataract surgery.
See, the research shows.
And I'm like, I don't know. I'm a comic. And my first cousin, Bob Lovitz, is the same age as me. He grew up in Chicago. He wanted to be an actor. He's friends with Gary Sinise. He grew up with him. He went to Juilliard and then got into John Houseman's acting company, and then he was 27. I don't want to act anymore.
Wow.
So he went to back to school after he hadn't been in school, like a real school, where you're except for, Juilliard studying acting for 10 years. Finished his pre-med in a year and a half, went to Albert Einstein. Now he's an anesthesiologist. They're all doctors, but I never wanted to do it. Everyone goes, "Didn't you want to be a doctor like your father?" I'm like, no. I remember I was 5 years old. I wake up, it's like 9 in the morning, and my dad comes in the front door. And I said, "Oh, I thought you were here. Where were you?" He goes, "I was at work." I go, "You're at work?" I go, "When did you?" I think it was a Saturday too. I go, "Well, when did you go to work?" He goes, 7. I went 7 this morning. He goes, "No, 7 yesterday morning." I go, and I was so confused. I go, "What?"
Yeah.
I go, no, you mean 7 this morning, right? He goes, "No, I mean 7. He goes, "Today's Friday," or maybe it was Friday. He goes, "I went to work yesterday, Thursday at 7. And I said,
This is the worst
"Wait
job
a minute.
in the world.
You left, I'm 5 and I got it. I said, "You left yesterday
Again,
at 7 in the morning and you're coming home the next day, Friday at 9?
Perfect opportunity
He
for your
said
dad
yes.
to say, "What did I say?"
Yes. And I thought, right then I thought, I do not want to be a doctor. I remember it.
These hours are bullshit.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I was 5. Who wants to work for a living? And he'd always say, "Find something you love doing. You wake up, you can't wait to get there."
Right.
So I'd go, well, and anyway, I wrote a song about it. Oh, I go, "I don't want to work. Can I get paid for being me?" And that's what happened. I wrote a song. Oh, I get paid to be me. Dee, 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 dee. I'm in the field of clover. Feel good all over because I get paid to be me. I wake up and take a breath of air. Next thing you know, I'm a millionaire. Oh, dee, 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 do. Don't you wish you got paid for being you? And you do. Oops. I added that last part. The last part was a little off key. People go, "You can't sing worth crap."
It was a little off key.
Yeah, well, I just did a singing show, Kevin, on ABC. It'll be on the fall called Sing Your Face Off.
Right.
And they take like celebrities, or I don't like saying I'm a celebrity, because to me that's just someone who's famous for shitting on the sidewalk. A lot of homeless people are celebrities. Anyway, they make you up and they give you prosthetics and you imitate famous
Oh,
singers.
this was a British show first.
Yes, all over the world. They did it in America. It's going to be the first time it's going to be on ABC.
So you put on prosthetics to be
Can't say.
really someone famous?
A lot of famous singers. It was fun. It's great. It was like scary and fun, and at the same time, what a challenge. You think you can. You go, "I can imitate them." Then you start trying to do it, and you're like, "Oh my God!" And you listen to their song over and over, and people have such, as you know, subtleties in their voice, and
Right.
you're great at imitating people. But if you're not great at it, I mean, some people I can do easy, and others I can't do at all. Well, you're great at it, but it takes a special
What do you say?
skill. Well, imagine trying to sing like them. Let me ask you something.
Yes,
Kevin,
please.
since we're on a chat show.
Please.
What is it? Have you always been able to imitate people? You're just born with a good ear, or what? Or do you go, "No, I wanted to do it and I work at it"? What's your answer? We're talking to Kevin Pollak on Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. What is your answer?
How
to that?
wonderful of a waiter were you? That's my question. Oh, I should answer yours.
you don't have to.
Here's the real sort of boring truth of the matter is all humans learn to speak by mimicking sounds. That's how we learn to speak. We mimic sounds, and then we mimic sentences, and then we mimic words. It's all mimicry.
That makes sense. 'Cause
Obviously.
the first sound I made was meow. That was my first word.
Well, they said, "What did the kid? What's the first thing your kid said?" It's mama, daddy, whatever. Because you're looking at the kid going, "Mama, say mama," and sure enough, the kid finally mimics you. But that's it. So some of us have this freak thing where we never that.
You know what my first sentence was? I was 2. "I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today."
We just discussed this.
Yes, Wimpy, I loved him, and then I watched it like a few years ago, and I couldn't believe how influenced I was. If you watch Wimpy, you'll go, "That's John," and I forgot.
Well, it was very dramatic. The way he
Yes, it's
spoke.
Match with Hesby, but I forgot. Then I watched it, and I went, "Oh my God, I'm doing Wimpy."
Yeah.
Because I loved hamburgers.
I think the first question, the first odd question last week for our guest was,
Do we assume that Wimpy got paid on Tuesday?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it with all that we know? Is it safe to assume that Wimpy?
No,
got
and
paid?
it's like Match with Hesby, and I go, it's like my liar character, that whole thing of like making stuff up.
Yeah.
I watched the cartoon, and he's He's just doing anything, just lying to the guy just to get a hamburger.
And you clearly watched the show as a kid.
Yeah, and I love hamburger. I started crying because I didn't realize how much it was a part of me.
Well, you cry often.
Imagine crying watching Popeye.
You cry often.
And I loved spinach. I do, that's why.
And anchors, too. Aren't you fond of anchors?
Well, you go like this, meaning tattoos. Now, people say, why don't you have a tattoo? I go, because when I was 18,
Yes.
I'd always run into these sailors. I met a lot of sailors, and they'd have tattoos. And someone finally said, wait a minute. What do you mean you met a lot of sailors? And I went, well, that's a good point. Because in Santa Monica, you'd hang out, there'd be a lot of sailors in the pier.
Yes, of course.
And I'd
You'd
be
sell
down
them-
there trying to,
Sell them cigarettes.
sell myself. So I'd say, and they'd have an anchor, they'd have a ship, they'd have a Hawaiian girl, and they'd go, here, look at that, and they'd make it dance.
These are references from movies.
And I say, no, it's all true. And I go, that's really neat. And they'd go, I remember one guy goes, no, it isn't. It's the goddamn stupidest thing I ever did.
Wow.
I go, well, then why'd you do it?
I was drunk.
Smartest.
Yeah.
Because I was in the Navy, 21 and drunk. No, I was drunk, 21 and in the Navy. Yeah.
There you go.
You took my
You
line.
son of a bitch.
So anyway, you mimic somebody. The first thing you hear is mama, dada, gang, gang, gang.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You know, dentists or
The
doctors
first thing you
too,
heard was
Kevin.
this. This is your mother's nursing you, right? And you're like this. The first word you heard is like, enough!
You seem to
Kevin, please!
You seem to be pulling the child off of a nipple.
That's right. That's the first word you heard. I'm saying this is you as a baby. And your mother goes, all right! Jesus Christ, Kevin!
Somebody get this kid off,
Ow.
off my tit.
It's a goddamn raisin, this kid. And your father would go, let's wait till it fills back up, then we'll make love. I'm just saying, that's what happened with you.
That's the best impression of my father I've ever
So
heard.
whatever happened with, how'd you learn how to imitate people?
Don't know.
You
Hey.
can just have you and Dana you guys are great at it.
Hey, here's the most flattering thing I could find on you. This is from Yahoo Yahoo.com movie bios. Does it bother you that yours begins with a pear-shaped, somewhat froggy-faced comedic character player?
Oh yeah.
It's like the worst. And then I
Someone
said,
wrote that in a review or something, and then they just keep repeating it forever.
because I was so outraged by that, I looked up mine, and sure enough, mine's horrible as well.
What did they say about you?
Pollock's talent for accents was well showcased in popular comedies like The Whole Nine Yards and the animated family film A Shark's Tale, which I'm not in.
I loved you in that.
Okay, but that's not even close to the same thing.
Well, it's just horrible
Well,
misinformation.
mine is just completely ruining, my froggy face. It's like, how the fuck did that guy make it with that face? And whoever wrote that is a jealous prick.
Getting back to the most
Good thing we're on
important
the internet.
question, how wonderful of a waiter were you? I loved being a waiter. Did you like it? Did you hate it?
I was awful because I got a job. My friends from college got me a job, and I moved to New York in like '82 because I wasn't getting anywhere in Los Angeles. So I moved. I tried out for the Ashland, Oregon Shakespeare Festival. I go, if I don't get in, a roommate from mine in college said, if I don't get in, I'll come to New York. He asked me to be his roommate. So I went, moved to Manhattan. So another friend of mine got me a job at this restaurant in I think 40th and Broadway, around there, called Giggles.
Sure.
And it was the busiest restaurant ever. And I met this girl, a friend of mine, and I said, God, it's so hard. I go, how do you do it? She goes, well, how many tables do you have? I said, 5. She goes, 5? She goes, I have 27. I go, how do you do that? Anyway, I finally got it down. But this is how bad I was. So one time I had a wine, right, on a tray. Sorry, it's a wine in a glass here. So I go like this. So naturally, I took it off here. So naturally, it's on the other side. And he goes, it spills all over this guy, red wine, but he had a burgundy suit. I go, I'm so sorry, I'll pay for the dry cleaning. Oh, and when I got the job, the manager said, have you been a waiter before? I go, yes. I'd never been a waiter.
Of course not.
But I needed a job. So the rest of the meal, I was so nervous. I'd bring him 2 beers at a time. And one guy at the table goes, oh. One time I brought 3. He goes, oh, look at you. You brought 3 beers at a time. Just giving me crap the whole time. I go, well, and I didn't say anything. And he kept giving me crap. So I finally said to this guy, the manager, who happened to be married at the time to Kelly McGillis, who was an unknown actress.
What are the chances?
And Kelly McGillis, I actually went to college with her mother.
What?
Yeah.
Kelly McGillis went to college with her own mother.
No, Kelly McGillis's mother, Joan, I went to UC Irvine, and she was from Newport Beach. And we used to go to their house, and I think I actually met Kelly when she was like 16. Yeah, when I was in college. But anyway, the manager, I became friendly with them, and I go, oh, Kelly. I go, oh, yeah, I went to school with her mother. He was married to her at the time. So I said, this guy keeps giving me crap. It's like really sarcastic. Just being abusive. He goes, listen, if he does it again, tell me. I go, okay. So the guy, he read 3 things at once. So I said, it's like for 45 minutes he was doing it. I said, he did, this is ridiculous. He goes, all right. So he goes to the table, goes, you guys just finish up, and then you can just go to the bar. We're not serving you anymore. So then I bring the check, and the guy starts screaming, no tip! No tip!
Wow! That's a very, very physical reaction.
So anyway, I ended up getting fired, And the guy, Michael, goes, John, just tell. He was like, just tell me. Have you ever been a waiter before? I go, yes. He goes, just don't lie. Just tell me. I got to let you go, but just tell me the truth. Have you been a waiter before? Yes, I've been a waiter. I go, I was completely lying.
You stuck with the lie until today.
I don't know why. I was just humiliated.
Right.
It was the busiest restaurant in New York.
Were you a better messenger than you were a waiter?
Yeah. Well, messenger. I liked actually being a messenger because I wasn't having bosses. They go, you have to go here. Here's where you go. So I'd be delivering packages, but I'd be by myself. I could work on. I can practice my acting. I'd work on
Is that here
characters and voices here in Los Angeles.
Because I pictured you
in New York. I was a waiter. Then I got a job at a Xerox store for 6 months.
Hello.
Making copies, and the guy was nice, but it was just like mindless. It was like, ugh.
Right.
But one time a guy came in, Harold Farberman, a composer, right? And anyway, I grew up in Tarzana, and my best friend is David Kudrow, and David's sister is Lisa Kudrow, is on Friends. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I grew up with their family, and David's father, Dr. Kudrow, goes, yeah, my cousin is a composer, Harold Farberman. And So anyway, I'm in New York. This guy comes in, Harold Farberman. He's got some music. I go, are you Harold Farberman? Yes. Oh, are you related to the Kudrows? Yes. Lee Kudrow? Yes. I go, oh, I'm best friends with David. He goes, you're kidding. No, I'm not kidding. That was the highlight of working at the Xerox store.
That's your favorite story from the experience.
Well, I was an orderly at a hospital, or my dad built a hospital in Tarzana. You want to hear some orderly stories?
Yes.
Those are interesting.
I think everyone does want to hear the orderly stories.
And everyone,
were you the disorderly orderly?
No, but this is what's crazy about being an orderly.
Right.
Is you have no training, right?
No.
There's the doctor visits once a day the patient. I was on the surgery floor. They visit a patient for maybe 10 minutes a day. The RNs who go to school for 2 years, they're with the patient maybe 3 times when they give them their medicine. That's it. The family visits once a day. The orderly who does not know the patient
doesn't know
and has
squat.
No training at all is with the patient 8 hours a day. They're with them more. And what would happen, unfortunately, is people in their 60s are in the hospital, and after about 3 days, what do you have, a date? After about 3 days, they start going senile.
Who do?
The patients.
Why?
You do.
Why?
Who do, voodoo? You do that thing you do.
Why do the patients start going senile?
I'm telling you, Kevin, if you were in the hospital, in 3 days you'd be senile.
In your 60s?
Yeah, and you're in your 50s. Because they get disoriented. They're there. I don't know what happens. They just start getting disoriented.
Were you drugging them?
And they're disoriented. No, the RN gives the drugs. I have to change their sheets. If they crap in their bed, I have to wipe up their butt. And I was doing the cartoon, The Critic. She goes, well, which is better, doing The Critic or being an orderly? I go, well, what do you think? No, I'd rather be wiping butts. Of course this is better.
Well, it's better
What's
because...
better, being a movie star or wiping people's shit out of their ass? Gee, I'm going to go with movie star. I go, wipe.
The difference is when you get to be on TV and movies, then you get to choose which ass you wipe the shit from.
Well, if you play a doctor, you're not going to actually do it. But, I mean, it was
No,
like...
I meant you make so much money from being on TV and movies, you can then decide which ass you want to wipe from. I'll be right back. Lisa Kudrow sat here actually and said, when I asked how did you get involved in the Groundlings, she said that you suggested her for the for the position, as it were. And I asked which position, because I know Jon. So you were at the Groundlings.
Lisa is
your best
I've known her
friend's younger
since
sister.
Since she's 5.
Sure. Well, you were 12.
So she's like I was 11. Mm-hmm. So she's like my little sister. So when she was, I grew up with her family. They're like my family.
Sure.
Her parents are like my parents, and David's like we're 12 ago. We both had sisters. We'll be brothers. So that's what it's like. So anyway, when she was 14, I was a drama major at Irvine. So we would talk about acting, and she started asking me about it. And before she was my friend David's sister, and she was like alone a lot, and she'd have cats, and she'd be playing with her cats, and she'd come in the room, and David would be like, "Get out!"
Right.
And he'd get mad at her, and she's like, eh. But now she's 14. I'm talking to her, and I remember saying to David, your sister, she's really fun to talk to. She's
Right.
like really smart. I'd never really talked to her like that, And she's asking me about acting, and I got her this book that my parents got me. This book called. I did that.
You did
Called
mime work, apparently.
Audition. I know. Here, I'd like to give you a copy.
Thank you.
Called Audition by Michael Shurtleff. It's a great book.
Audition?
You heard it?
No.
Yeah, by Michael Shurtleff. He was a casting director, and he wrote a book about auditioning, and my parents said, maybe this will help you. And boy, did it help me. And he just kind of outlines, he has these things called guideposts, and there's 12 of them. It's basically just specific questions you ask about a scene. And if you ask all 12 questions, like, the opposite, where's the humor, what's your relationship to where you are, like how do you feel about where you are, it's a great book. And you go, well, if I put all these things in my audition, I'd get like every job I'd audition for. And you do. Anyway, I got her the book to my fellow thespian, Lisa, good luck. And then she came to New York once. I was on Saturday Night Live, and she was in her 20s. She said, hey, I made up some characters. I went and visited her, and she was doing them. And then she called me, I don't know, maybe a few months later or something. She said, hey, Jon, I really want to get into acting. What should I do? So I said, well, I think you should go to the Groundlings. It's a great place. And I said, listen, if anyone fucks with you there, tell me, and I'll beat the crap out of them. Don't let anyone mess with you, because they get competitive, and they try to mess with you. And there was one guy there tried to keep me out. Anyway, it didn't work. But so she went there, and the other thing I said to her is, I said, listen, whatever you do, I go, they mug there a lot. I go, don't mug, play it real, because you're not going to get hired to mug. The style, everyone wants a real person. But anyway, she went there, and then after her first session, they said, you need to maybe you should go somewhere else. So she studied with Cynthia Zaghetti, who Cynthia's a great teacher, and was in the original Groundlings.
Right.
And then Lisa, but she did. And then over the years, she'd call me up maybe 3 or 4 times, and I think 3, and say, hey, can I ask you for some advice? I go, yeah, sure. So she'd ask me a question, right? And I go, and my instinct was like, fuck that guy, he's an asshole. I don't know. Whatever advice I would give her, and she goes, oh, well, I was thinking maybe I should do this. And every time I think about what she said, I said, yeah, you know what? Do that. That's much better.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, she always had she was really smart. I knew she was smart, but I didn't know she was that smart. But she'd say, oh, I was thinking maybe I should do this. And I go, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that is better. Do that. You're right. Every time.
So she would ask you for help. You would take some ridiculous extreme approach on what she should do.
Well, my answer was always emotional.
Right.
And she was, because I get like,
and you were looking after her. She's your little sister.
Yeah, and she'd say, well, maybe I should just do this. Like when people in show business, they always lie. And I still can't stand it. I hate lying, ironically. And Lisa's reaction is, so they lie.
Wow.
Like nothing,
Yeah.
it's like nothing to her.
Yeah.
And it's better to be that way. I'm like, that son of a bitch.
Linda Opes wrote that great book with an amazing title, Hello, He Lied, about show business, yeah.
And yeah,
They all lie.
she was referring to you.
Was the Flanagan created on the stage at the Groundlings? Was that the first place?
Yeah, what happened was there's a friend of mine, a girl who I had a crush on forever, and she'd say, I like a guy with a fat wallet. And I go, oh, well, my dad just had 15 oil wells come in today. And then I'd say, I am a pathological liar. And then I saw the movie, one of the first Thin Man, and I love old movies, and there's a character in there where they're grilling this guy, and he's going, they go, where were you? And he's going, I wasn't at the bank. I was at the, I don't know exactly what he was saying, but I was down the street. Yeah, that's the ticket. I was this. And he's doing that.
He literally said that's the ticket?
Yeah, that's where I got it from. I've never said I made that up. It's from that movie.
Right.
And then I thought, wouldn't it be funny if, instead of like Alcoholics Anonymous, instead of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is not funny. But I hear people say, oh, they get up and they say, I'm Bob, I'm an alcoholic, and here's my story. But what if it was like Pathological Liars Anonymous?
Right.
And the guy would get up just like he's an alcoholic, goes, my name's Tommy Flanagan, I'm a member of Pathological Liars Anonymous. And then he just starts lying.
Right.
Because he would just start lying. And I thought, that's funny. And so we did it in a panel at the Groundlings, where you had it would be like 5 of us doing characters, and then you had like a host. So they go, all right, you do a character, and you each go down and you say your name and what you do, and then the audience will ask questions.
Okay.
So I went, hello, my name's Tommy Flanagan, and I looked like, I tried to do the guy from the movie, you know, I go, I want to play that part. So I was all sweaty and like this, I had my beret in my hand, I go, hello, my name is Tommy Flanagan, I'm a member of Pathological Liars Anonymous. In fact, I'm the president of that organization, right? And then,
So the first time that line was born was at that moment.
yeah, at the Groundlings.
Very first time you
and
did
then
it on
someone
stage.
said, they go, okay, you can ask questions. They go, how long have you been lying? I go, what are you talking about? They go, you said you're a pathological liar. I'm like, no, I didn't. Which I thought was funny. But Robin Schiff was in the Groundlings. Robin became a big sitcom writer and everything. She was in the Groundlings. She goes, John, you set it up so perfect. You could say anything. She goes, don't say it, just stay in the character, like answer the question. I go, oh, I did? She goes, yes. I didn't even realize. She goes, all right. She goes, what's your favorite sport? I went, bowling. Right? She goes, and it was funny. I went, oh my God. She had to point it out to me.
You idiot.
And there was a guy in the Groundlings, Jim Dean, who happened to be married to Tracy Newman, who's Lorraine Newman's sister, who was a founding member of the Groundlings, and Tracy. So Tracy was our director of the Sunday Company. Anyway, Jim Dean, a great guy, he was in the company. He'd always come up with like the simplest ideas, but like great, constantly. Right. I said, Jim, how do you do that? Your ideas, they're so like simple, but they're so great. You could just write jokes forever on them. And I remember I kept thinking, how can I do that? And I did The Liar, and I realized after Robin said that, I went, oh, I stumbled on it. She had to point it out to me.
Right.
I had the setup.
Right. Then
I wrote it as a monologue, and then I got in the Groundlings of September of '84, January of '85. I got in the main. We did a new show, and then we got great reviews, and I did a Liar
March
there.
of 1985, a handful of performers from the Groundlings appear on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
March 28th.
You did 2 of the 3 sketches.
Yeah. What happened was, so we got great reviews in the
So you
Hollywood
said you moved to
Reporter.
New York in '82, so by then you must have moved back.
I moved back in,
Right.
I moved in, '81, and I came back in '82.
Okay.
I was living in a condo in Woodland Hills with my friend David Kudrow, and I said, I'm going to go for being a comedian. You know, I saw Take the Money and Run when I was 13 years old, Woody Allen's movie. I go, I want to be a comic like Woody Allen.
Yeah.
Before that, I wanted to be Al Jolson and James Cagney.
I don't understand. You have a gub, sir?
Yeah,
You wrote down here at the bank.
and the gun and melting in the rain.
Yeah.
And made out of soap. And anyway, then I saw the movie Lenny when I was 16, and with Dustin Hoffman. I'd never heard of Lenny Bruce, and then the movie was so great. I go, I want to hear the real guy. I just was like, it just captivated me. So I went to the record store, and I got Lenny Bruce's albums. And you know, there's a comedy section of albums, maybe this many albums.
Back then.
And then, yeah, back then. And then it said Woody Allen. I saw Woody Allen in the nightclub years. I go, Woody Allen was a stand-up? So I went over to David's house. I go, you got to hear this. Woody Allen did stand-up.
Ridiculous. I shot a moose.
I shot a moose. So I learned that routine.
Yeah.
I learned Lenny Bruce's. I was, in Limo, Ohio, and I would learn their routines, and I did them in my college dorm. Then I was a drama major at Irvine, but afterward, I said, I want to be a stand-up. So I went to the Comedy Store, and across the street where the House of Blues is in L.A., there was a little building called the Comedy Store Annex. They go, free stand-up workshop on Saturdays. So I went, and I go, all right, here we go. And I got my notes like college. And the guy teaching goes, well, if you want to be a stand-up to get into sitcoms, don't waste your time. They're not hiring stand-ups for sitcoms. And I remember thinking, well, they just hired Robin Williams from Mork and Mindy, who was huge. I go, they're not hiring stand-ups for sitcoms? He goes, no. So that's why you're going to be a stand-up. You shouldn't do it. And then he kept talking. I raised my hand. Me annoying. Yes. Really? They're not hiring you guys? Because I go, you think they would. You guys are funny. Yeah, well, you think they would, but they're not. Anyway, da-da-da. So I thought, well, I'll skip that step.
So you wanted to be in sitcoms.
I thought stand-up, that's the way to go. And I just started then. I didn't realize then, I didn't know anything. I believed the guy. I didn't realize they weren't hiring him.
Right.
20 years later, I tell that story to Jay Leno and Fraser Smith. They both go, oh, that's so-and-so. They knew the exact guy that said it.
Right.
And I go, really? And Fraser goes, yeah, he thought like he's an expert. I don't want to say the guy's name, but he never
not
worked
important.
much. So
Dr. Bitter.
So I skipped it, yeah. And so, well, he was Mexican American, maybe that's why. But he was bitter. But they hired Freddie Prinze.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be great.
Yeah, that's the thing.
There's only 3 networks. You have to be great to make it.
Well, I also
Back
don't
then,
understand the
and-
advice to someone getting into stand-up. You don't want to do this because they're no longer hiring stand-ups to be in sitcoms. Who fucking cares about sitcoms? You want to be a stand-up to be a stand-up, right? It wasn't about getting on television.
Well, but I thought it was a good. I was thinking of Woody Allen. Like you start doing a stand-up, then you get to this, and you get to this. It's a good way to start your career. You can. It's something you can actually do. You don't have to audition for it.
Right.
You can start doing it. I was right. Clearly, I was right.
Well,
Look at Roseanne, Seinfeld. Yeah, they were hiring all the stand-ups.
but you know, a lot of us got into
Sure.
stand-up because we wanted to be stand-ups,
Yeah. Well, I wanted to do both.
not as a gateway drug.
Well, but the thing is that, like, Dana helped me with stand-up. You know, I've been doing it for like 10 years now. He goes, you know, there's no rules.
Right.
But certain stand-ups, I go, like, you're not a real stand-up because to be a real stand-up, you got to do this. I go, what, you got to be bitter and not get laughs? Yeah, that's good. Good for you. You know, be angry, bitter, and no one gets your jokes except 3 guys in the back, and they're only laughing because no one else is laughing and you're bombing. Idiot, you know. And you know, I have a comedy club now. John, I hope you do a show. Jon Lovitz, I never asked you. Well, you never asked me to do this. Jon Lovitz Comedy Club at Universal City Walk. And they go come and say, oh, they don't want to do the club because I haven't been to stand-up long enough. I go, I was doing it before you were fucking born. You know, I did Woody Allen's routines. I did this. I've done comedy my whole life. It's whatever. But a lot of stand-ups, I mean, they're retarded. You know, they're angry at their father, and then if you can hire them, now you're their father. Now they're angry at you.
Yeah, well, let's
I
talk
didn't
about
raise you.
owning and running a comedy club.
But anyway, I
and
did the Tonight
podcast-
Show.
and
I have
podcast
ADD.
Theater, yeah.
But this is a good story.
Okay.
So so I'm doing the Liar, and then it's a Sunday, and I get a call in March. I got 20 messages on my voice machine, which they don't have anymore. Congratulations, John. Congratulations.
Right.
All my friends from the Groundlings. They're just saying congratulations. It's terrific. I have no idea. They don't say what they're congratulating me for. I don't know what they're talking about.
Wow.
So on Monday, I called Tom Maxwell, who's the artistic director of the Groundlings. I said, Tom, what's going on? I got 20 messages. People are congratulating me. I go, for what? He goes, and he's from North Carolina. He goes, we're going on the Tonight Show. I go, who? He goes, you, the Groundlings. I go, what do you mean we're going? He goes, I go, who? He goes, you. I go, me? He goes, yeah, they picked The Liar and Tim Stack and you doing the truck driver piece and Don Woodard and Mindy Sterling and Kate Benton are doing a white man's rap. I go, what? We're going on the Tonight. I go, when? He goes, Thursday. I go, Thursday?
You shit yourself.
I go, yeah, because here I am in this 99-seat theater. I had one job after college when I was 25 for 2 weeks called the Paper Chase the second year, which was a show. That's it.
Yeah.
3, and then nothing. Another story. But anyway, so I couldn't believe it. Anyway, and we get there and I go, Tom, what am I going to do? Because if half the time at the Groundlings it worked, half the time it didn't. If they didn't understand that those first 2 lines of, you know, I'm Tommy Flanagan, I'm a member of Pathological Liars Anonymous, and then the joke being, in fact, I'm the president of their organization. If they got that joke, it worked. A lot of times they didn't get it.
Right.
Well, for whatever reason.
Too subtle.
It didn't work.
Right.
So I go, what am I going to do? And in my mind, this is that world of showbiz that I'd heard about. I'd
Tonight
never
Show is
been
a
in.
pinnacle.
And I was in acting class after college. This guy, Tony Barr, Film Actors Workshop, a friend of mine, Mike Sabatino, said, we're in theater in college. He goes, we need to know the camera. So he graduated before me a quarter. I go, what do we do? I didn't know anything.
Right.
I didn't know anything. So I said, okay, Mike went there, I'll go there. And everybody in my acting class, it was the only class I've ever been in, you may argue with this, where nobody was mentally ill. I knew you'd laugh. You're thinking, nobody? So anyway, and everybody would talk about, what are you going to say when you make it and you're on the Tonight Show? What are you going to say in the Tonight Show? That was the mark of making it. You got to be on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. So now we're on the Tonight Show. Anyway.
So you did the sketch.
All day. No, wait. What am I going to do?
Right.
So now, and I was really worried because so I get out on the floor. I've never been there. I'd only been on one television show in my life, which was filmed. I get on the set of the Tonight Show, and then the bleachers, you know, you're on the floor and they go up like to heaven.
Yeah.
He looked gigantic.
Yeah.
It was like 350 seats. I'm like, you know, the Groundlings was as big as this room we're in. It was teeny, 99 seats. So I said to the director, where do I look? You know, he goes, just play it to camera. Okay, which was great advice because it helped me focus. And if you notice, comics now they go on the Tonight Show, they never look in the lens, which is idiotic because that's where the audience is.
Right.
You know, like, oh, there's 350 people here, they're playing like a club. The audience is in the lens. They don't look.
That's certainly the way Johnny, Dave, or anyone else.
Yeah,
plays
and
it.
right. I told a friend of mine, I go, look in the lens. I go, there's 5 million people in the lens. And he's going like, he didn't look in the lens. I go, you idiot. And he got a fat head. He goes, oh, you're a standing ovation. I said, one Tonight Show appearance does not the career make, you idiot. I go, I've done a billion movies. I've done way more than you. I don't have a fat head. What the hell's wrong with you? Anyway, Joe Coy. So, I'm not naming names, Joe
No,
Coy.
no.
So
There you're on the Tonight
So now
Show.
I know where to look.
Right.
So now, but what am I going to do? So now it's like, I don't know, 45 minutes before the show, they go to makeup. So I'm in the makeup room, and there's that world, and there's Morley Safer from 60, doing a story on Jack Lemmon for 60 minutes. And I'm like,
Yeah.
there they are, those guys. And then Morley Safer says, so you've done acting for 40 years. What have you learned, you know, after 40 years of acting? And Jack Lemmon goes, well, here's what I've learned. Keep it simple. And I went, oh, okay, that's what I'll do. That's my answer.
You just happen to be there in that moment when legendary Jack Lemmon says, keep it simple.
Yeah, because
that
he-
hadn't crossed your mind yet.
No, I didn't even know he was on the show. He was on the show before us. I didn't know anything.
I meant the advice, keep it simple.
Well, no.
So you go out there and
So
you
I thought, oh, keep it simple. Okay. So I went out there and I just looked straight in the lens and just real direct and simple, and that's what I'll do. So I had somewhere to look at. I had something to focus on in my
Right.
mind. And, you know, I did it. Robin Schiff called me after. She says, I watched it. I was crying. She says, you're like a star. You're going to make it. I go, really? I don't know. So I didn't know anything. I did it. And then a guy, Mike Eisenstadt, who had been an assistant to an agent who had helped me got the audition for Paper Chase. Now he was an agent. He goes, I had to beg him to get you. It was at Fred Emsell. He goes, to sign you. He goes, okay, he's on the Tonight Show. Well, you sign him now. And then I remember a few weeks later, I said, listen, Mike, can you get me extra work on soaps? Because I need
You heard it
money.
paid $90
well, I was
a
a
day.
messenger. It was $90 a day.
Yeah.
I was making $5 an hour. I lived on $600 a month
Oh, Jesus.
for 7 years. So, and the messengering was like,
Yeah.
it was like down to 30 something. He goes, well, if you really want to do that, I go, well, it's $90 a day. I'm making 45 barely now. Not even that.
Right.
So he said, well, think about it. He goes, in 3 weeks there'll be auditions, but I'd wait. But if you really want me to do it, call me tomorrow and I'll do it. So I said, all right. So I called him next day. I said, okay, I'll wait. But so next thing you know, he gets me these auditions. I got everything. I said, I have to work. I go, otherwise I'm going to be doing this the rest of my life. So I went out all out on every audition. I said, forget being afraid, just go for it. I turned down Divorce Court. Eat me. And I got everything, and I got a movie with Charles Grodin, and then he recommended, you know.
He helped recommend you for Saturday Night Live. I want to jump
And
around.
Lorraine Newman,
I
she
wanna-
befriended me, and
I
Mike
want-
Rick said, what about SNL? I said, yeah, right. He goes, no, I'm serious. I said, Mike, I have a better idea. Why don't I land on Pluto?
Yeah. I want to jump around a little bit because we have
It's your show.
severe Simpson fans here, and you've spent time there. So I want to, before we get to the Critic, and that moment where Jim Brooks says, I want to do a show with you, and you say, well, I have to read a script, and he says, we're not going to audition for you, John. And you said, yeah, but I got to read something. I love that conversation and the research. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
But before that, getting to work on The Simpsons initially, Phil, I assume, was already working on the show, right? Had you guys already known each other from the Groundlings? Because I think he did characters on The Simpsons before you, though. Doesn't that make sense?
Probably.
Lionel Huss,
He might have. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before.
Simpsons, Fish
I'm
and
okay, fine, but come on, man. I was the guy from Guys and Dolls. No.
So when you first
I guess if you say he did it, I
was
don't know when
Arnie
he started
Ziff the
doing
first
it.
character you did there?
Yes.
Yeah, they, you know, I'd been in, you know, Saturday Night Live movies, and then they go, you want to do The Simpsons? Like, sure. So I went, and I remember the first read through, and and it was like, I was excited to be there, and I started reading, and they're all like dying laughing at everything I said, which was a great feeling, you know.
Were you making shit up, or were you just reading the
No,
script?
I was just reading the script.
Right.
But you know, I was doing
the way,
my
that's
thing.
one of the reasons
Hello,
they're
I'm
dying
Artie
laughing.
Ziff. You know,
Yeah.
I'm doing that shit.
Yeah.
And they were just dying laughing. So I did 4 of them.
Right.
And then a League of Their Own had come out.
Right.
It was a hit in the summer. So then that May, I started getting all these movies. And that was when I heard Kevin goes, "Oh, Lovitz is getting everything."
That's right.
Complain. God damn it.
That's right.
But I got heat, and then Jim Brooks said, they said these 2 writers, I didn't know them, Al, Gene, and Mike Reese, wanted to do a show, the created a show called The Critic. So I met with them and stuff. They go, well, it's about this and this and this. So I said, I was with Jim Brooks, and I knew who Jim was, of course, and Al and Mike. I said, well, I go, is there, I go, all right, great, is there a script? Because they're saying, so will you do this for the next 5 years?
Right.
So then when you commit 5 years. So I said, okay, well, can I read a script? Which is a normal question.
At that point, it hadn't been decided that it would be animated either.
No.
Right. It was going to be live action. Initially.
Yeah, and Jim goes, to my shock, he goes, well, we're not going to audition for you. I'm like, what? I go, well, I'm not asking you to audition for me, but I go, you're asking me to do this for 5 years. I go, there's no script? I mean, normally they'd write a script. I go, here, you know, every job I ever got, we want you. Here's the script. See if you want it. And then he goes, well, I go, well, I found out later, I left the room, and Jim said to Al told me, Al and Mike said, you out, you better write something. So a few months later, they call me, they go,
Didn't register in your brain that the only person in filmmaking history at that point and since, their first time writing and directing a film, they win Best Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture in terms of endearment? That Jim Brooks, the guy who created Mary Tyler Moore and Taxi, it didn't cross your mind that perhaps this guy might know what the fuck he's doing and you'd be the luckiest person on the planet to work for him no matter what he wanted you to do?
No, I wanted to see a script. But that being said, now, yes. Now I get it.
Right.
I didn't understand.
Right.
Now I really understand TV. Now I get it more than ever.
Sure.
I didn't then. Now, if they said that, I would just, not because I'd say, okay, because now I understand that they write it. Then, now that I'd never done a sitcom, what I realized happened is they write the pilot, then they get to know you, and then they just start changing it and writing it to you.
And this was a situation
funny,
where...
but I didn't know who Al and Mike were. They go, Al and Mike are writing this show. It wasn't Jim writing, it was Al and Mike. I go, well, I don't know. And they're telling me the idea.
Right.
What I said was, I go, you know, here's the thing. I go, you guys are describing it. I go, but you have one of what it is, a picture of what it is in your head. And from what you're saying, I have something in my head. I don't know if it's the same thing.
Right.
Is there something I can see? Like, it's saying, well, can you show me what you mean?
Yeah.
It's like saying to someone, I want to build a house for you to live in the next 5 years. I go, well, and it'll be beautiful, and it'll be amazing. You want to live in it? I go, well, sure. Can I see the plans?
Right.
No.
Well, when Woody Allen offered you a role in his movie,
by then
did you say, I need to see a script, Mr. Allen?
No, but then my manager going, you know, Jim Brooks might not be, my manager, he may not be there, and he's busy doing this. It's going to be these 2 guys.
Right.
Anyway, they ended up writing a script, just so you know.
And both of them...
they said, we have a script for you, John. Now, they did write one for me, and they said, but we decided to do it animated. But I'll go, all right. Oh, actually, no, and then they were, believe it or not, you're gonna go, are you kidding me? They go, Jim goes, John, look, it'll be 24, I have a deal, it'll be 24 on the air.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, well,
As in not a pilot.
I go, I don't know. Because I'd been doing movies. No, believe me, in retrospect, I'm a fucking idiot. But movies, I go, well, you know, I was getting all these movies and all this. I'm like, well, and at the time it was like, well, it was like not doing TV, it was like going back to TV. It wasn't like, now you do it, you get movies. It wasn't like that. But Jim goes, it'll be really great for you, this. And my neighbor happened to be Suzanne DePass, is a huge, you know.
Music manager or music publisher.
And producer like Lonesome Dove, and she founded the Jacksons. She was in music, she's huge. So I said, Suzanne, can I ask you a question? I go, this is the offer, 24 on the air, Jim Brooks. I go, am I just like an idiot not to do this? She goes, yes.
Yes.
You'd be an idiot. I go, I should do it, right? She goes, you should absolutely do it.
Right.
Okay. I go, I don't, because it wasn't like, you know, the same. It wasn't like, there used to be, if you're TV, you can't do movies. It was like separate. And it was just starting. Jim goes, no, it'll help your movie career. career. I go, well?
Yeah.
I go, well. So we were working on the deal, and then they go, we'll give you this much money. So my manager asked for a little more, and they said, now we're going to give you less.
Right.
I go, less? Then they went to less. I went, oh, this is ridiculous. I go, now I want to see a script. I go, what the hell? I never had someone say, I'll give you $10. You go, I want, I'll give you 10. I go, 15, 8. Huh? 5. You already offered me.
Well, you pissed off Jim Brooks.
My manager, they negotiate on your behalf.
Right.
He didn't ask for that much more. He said, we'll give you $1 million. So we said, all right, 1.3 billion. Now, it's a jump, but he could have met us in the middle. 500 million, 700 million.
But here's the thing about that 24
But
on
they
the,
wrote
on
the
the air
script.
thing.
I read it. I laughed out loud 10 times.
Yeah.
10 times. It was the funniest script. I'd never read a script where I laughed. Maybe I laughed out
Well,
loud
these
once.
guys ran The
This 10
Simpsons.
times
I mean, the
laughed
fact
out
that you
loud.
didn't know who they were is crazy. They were huge guys at The Simpsons already. Mike and Gene. Al Gene.
Well, at the time, I was more known than them. I didn't know who they were.
They were just writers.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Well, I didn't know. Kevin,
Yes.
it's like, if you don't know somebody, you go, be in my movie. You go, can I read the script?
Again.
No, but will you do it? No, I
Yeah.
didn't know who they were.
I understand.
But then I said yes, and then they changed to animated. I read the script. I said yes.
Right. How?
And then we did it. And then it was, ABC goes, we love it. It's fantastic. And they canceled it right away after 7 shows. Then we went after The Simpsons the next year.
on Fox, yeah.
And it was actually a hit. It held 90% of the audience, and The Simpsons was like a 14-1 rating. And we got 11. And Jim Brooks goes, it's not. And then they canceled it. And I said, what happened? He goes, I've never seen anything like it. I went to the head of the studio and said, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're canceling a hit. You can ask Jim.
Yeah.
And you can ask Jim. And they don't want to do it now. What am I saying? And believe me, in the meantime, I've said to them, let's do it. Let's do it again, like Family Guy. Went off the air.
Yeah.
People loved it. But Al says that I'm doing this. It's too complicated. They don't want to do it.
It's the funny thing about the whole business. But the show itself,
Well, see, everything's retrospect. You don't know, you see.
in the moment, it's a different story.
Yeah, now you go, hey, do you want to do 24 on the air with Jim Brooks? Well, yes. Are you kidding?
Well, now.
Then,
Yeah.
By the way, 24 on the air, right? He goes, guaranteed. Well, it was on ABC 7 shows after they canceled it. So it wasn't so guaranteed. So maybe Mr. Brooks wasn't telling the truth. And then I did 3 movies, and it Trapped in Paradise, and it bombed, and that was the end of that.
Well, let's go
Then I
back.
ended up doing The Critic, and I go, I'm going to just end up being Mr. Magoo. Pollock, Kevin Pollock. Not The Critic, not Magoo.
Jamie, you have to have a question about The Critic or Arnie Ziff or.
And I love doing both, by the way.
I love Arnie Ziff. That's just one of the all-time.
The thing about it is, it's very different. Artie Ziff, I play, is the character they wrote, and I play Marge's high school boyfriend.
Yeah,
in The
who
Simpsons.
became like
And
a
then-
multi-millionaire and a
Yeah,
great
he's like
success.
a billionaire. Then
Yeah.
I played Jay Sherman
Right.
on The Critic.
Right.
And they're very different.
Yes, they are.
So I'd like to do this is Artie Ziff. Hello, I'm Artie Ziff. Now this is The Critic. Hello, I'm Jay Sherman. They are completely different characters.
I have a quick
Please.
question. So it's been well documented that Dan Castellaneta
Yes.
in the original Simpsons script, Doe was just written as exasperated sigh or whatever it is.
Annoyed grunt.
Annoyed grunt.
Annoyed grunt.
Was Achim written as anything, or was that something you came up
yeah,
with?
because I'll be talking, and no. What happened was we were doing the reading a scene, and then I had more lines, and someone started talking in the middle of me saying more lines. So I'm like, and then I went down to just interrupt me. So then I went down to the.
Has anyone seen the ketchup?
Achim. Then I went going on.
Where are my shoes?
Like my Achim, I'm still talking. So.
So it just came out the first time? Or that was something you've been doing for a while when somebody interrupted you?
No, I just did it like that.
Right. And they said,
It was
keep
like
it.
going ahem, like I have more lines.
Achim.
I went and then I went Achim. Like Achim, shut up. So I kept going. So anyway, and then Al just started like dying laughing. And the next week it was in the script.
Written out.
I said, you put that in? I was clearing my throat like, shut up. And they started putting it in. They go, we thought it was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
It was a fun show, and the cast was so talented. Maurice LaMarche, you know Maurice?
Everyone loves Maurice
And
LaMarche.
that guy is an ear like,
Yeah.
he can imitate anybody.
It's true.
And I had Dana hear him once, and Dana goes, and Dana's great at it, and Dana goes, well, that's just freaky.
Yeah.
That's like, I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah.
Maurice LaMarche got so good at imitating me. I was doing this movie, and they call me, they go, oh, high school high, they go, oh, we have to do this line. I don't know why I was mad. I go, well,
Just get Maurice
it
LaMarche.
was looping like forever, and they said, "No, I go, well, I'm at the beach. I don't know what I was
Get
thinking."
Maurice LaMarche.
They go, well, then if you don't do the line, we'll get somebody else. I'm like, fine, get Maurice LaMarche. I go, it's fine with me, because like nothing, and I didn't want to do. I don't know why. I just thought it was unnecessary. I go, fine, get Maurice LaMarche. I go, he can imitate me perfect. And so I call Maurice. I go, hey Maurice, do you want to do this? You imitate me, and they'll pay you like $300. I go, all right. So he went. He calls me, right, and I hear myself talking.
Wow.
And he goes, what do you think? I go, what scene are they showing you? He goes, no, that's me. That was me imitating you. I go, what? I go, no, that was me. He goes, no, John, that was me. I thought he was holding the phone up in the air like they were playing a scene. It was him.
Yeah.
He was so good at imitating me, I thought it was me.
That's pretty.
And it was him.
Pretty strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Dave Coulier here. And,
What'd I say?
And he once looped a Richard Pryor whole scene as Pryor. I mean, those sort of things.
I did that once. I got to
You did Pryor?
Richard Pryor. What the hell are you talking about? Get off the fence! I'm sorry.
What was that?
That was not Richard Pryor.
No.
That was
Richard Branson.
no, on Jack Benny.
Yes, same thing.
What's his name? Mm-hmm. I do him all the time.
Talk to me a little bit about.
Rochester.
Do we have any other Simpsons
Talking to Kevin Pollak.
critic-related questions? Because I know you guys are. Jamie, come on.
I don't really have any questions. I'm sorry. I was a huge fan, and I love the crossover episode of The Simpsons. A Star Is Burns.
Well, you have a curious
How about that?
staff.
A Star
Oh,
Is
sorry.
Burns, the crossover episode,
Oh, what, the Critic and the...
And The Simpsons,
and The Simpsons.
where they do the
only story
the
about
film
that
festival.
is Matt Green did not want to do it,
Because he had nothing to do with the critic.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. We like our
No, I don't know why. He
we
just
like
didn't
our
wanna do it.
fans to
He's a
ask
nice guy, but he didn't wanna
questions
do
that
it.
are watching live, and I have one for you now, sir, if you're ready. These come in the form of 5 rapid-fire questions, Coke or Pepsi, this or that, no correct answer, simply opinion. They're called Tweet Fives.
Coke.
T5, T5, T5 forever now.
What happened to your finger?
This one is from @TMG Chris Hill. Ready? Arnold or McBain?
Arnold. Who's
Duka-
McBain?
Dukakis or Satan?
Dukakis.
Hanks and SNL or Hanks and Big?
Big.
On screen or voiceover work?
Voiceover. Easier.
Kate Upton, Morgan Fairchild.
Kate Upton.
You got 4 out of 5.
I had a dream about Kate Upton last night, and then I go, will you marry me? She said, yes.
And then what happened?
We're married.
That's going to cost you a
It was really
fortune.
weird. And I woke up, I go, she's 20. What am I thinking? And I thought, It was very strange.
All right.
I don't even know her.
This is a great question because it was next on my list. This one is from @Babette.
Wait a minute, you only asked me 4.
No, yeah, there was 5.
Was there?
@Babette Bombshell. Your performance in Happiness was beyond amazing. Do you feel there is a bias against comics crossing over into serious drama? Is there still a dribble glass ceiling? Dribble glass ceiling. I don't know that I'm familiar with that term.
Not a glass.
I
is
see
she
dribble
being
glass. She's
funny?
making a joke. I missed it. I'm
Dribble
sorry.
glass.
Thanks for tuning in.
Well,
Comedians
I don't
doing.
know. I mean, I could say there is. On the other hand, you're a comedian, but you get a lot of dramatic roles. I think you'll agree, Kevin, that any good comic actor can also do drama.
It's considerably easier.
And I think
I find.
it's important to remember that the dramatic pause is very helpful. Obviously. But there is one time.
What are you more
there
comfortable
There is a
doing?
problem because one time, well, people go, can you be serious? I go, I'm going out of my way to be funny. Can I say the line believable and not be funny? I go, yeah, of course.
Right.
I think, though, to be a great dramatic actor is just as hard to be truly great. There's a lot to it. But one time, Dustin Hoffman befriended me, And he brought me in on, he goes, I'm going to bring you in on an audition. So he brings me in to meet Robert Benton for Billy Bathgate.
Yeah.
And he goes, this is John, I think he'd be terrific in the movie, and da-da-da. And he could play the part. And Robert Benton goes, well, of course he could play the part, but, people will be laughing, And I said, well, maybe they'll be laughing at first. I said, but, once I'm not funny for 10 minutes, I think they'll stop.
It shouldn't take 10 minutes for
Well, whatever,
for the record.
I mean, they don't understand comedy.
What are you
they
more
don't
comfortable
get it.
doing? I know funny
Andrew
people.
Dice Clay's Woody Allen's movie. He's a comic.
We saw it a couple days ago.
He's terrific.
He's very good in it, yeah.
You're not laughing because he's not trying to be funny.
Right.
You're terrific in happiness.
Yes, you are, and I think that was the point of the question. What are you more comfortable doing?
Well, I was trained for 10 years as a straight actor. I don't mean not gay actor when I say straight, Kevin.
Right. I know.
Get your head out of my butt.
I know how much penis is involved in your work.
But get your head out of my butt. But
Right.
comedy is a lot more fun. I did that happiness scene, and then the scene the girl breaks up with me. So after about a few lines, my character starts crying, like really crying. So I had to break down and cry. So then.
But did you find that difficult to do? Because I did.
Well, it's not fun. And then you're doing it. You can do it at first. You think of stuff. You have to get into it. But then after a couple hours, 3 takes, 4. All right, do it again. Now I've got to think of something else to make me cry because the thing I was thinking of didn't work anymore. So I'm thinking of more and more, like just the most. And then the second thing worked for a while. Then they keep doing it. Now I got to think of a third thing, then a fourth. So by the time you get to the fourth or fifth thing, I'm thinking of the most depressing things to make me cry again. So after the 12 hours of crying, at the end of the day, I was like, you're actually physically crying. Normally you cry for however long you cry. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever.
Couple days.
No, but 12 hours straight. So I felt you're physically doing it. I was like depressed for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like, this does not feel good. So I would much rather do comedy, but I can do both, But the ironic thing is whenever I do a comedy, in acting, like look for the drama a moment, or if you're doing a drama, look for the humor. So it's weird. I just know that actors are doing drama, they go, well, can I be funny here? And then you're in a comedy, can I do it real?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. But I like doing both, but it depends on the part, But that scene was funny and great. But that's a nice compliment. Casino Jack was funny and straight.
Well,
Kevin
before we
Spacey.
get to Casino Jack, let's talk a little bit about
Your attitude?
Our hero, Woody Allen, because first you had his a still photographer befriend you and brought you to the set long before you ever
Brian Hamill.
had a chance to work with him. So Brian Hamill says, come to the set. We're shooting around the corner or something.
Well, no, what happened was I got Saturday Night Live,
Right.
and Penny Marshall brought me to this restaurant called Columbus on 69th and Columbus. And she introduced me to Paul Herman, who was on The Soprano. He played Beansy, and Paulie's like this, So she goes, Paulie, take care of John. So, all right, John, come on. So all the actors are hanging out there. So it was a blast. I'd go there every night. I'm becoming friendly. I meet Mike Tyson through Brian Hamill. Before he was champ, I'm there with my it's my sister. I go, Leslie, you want to meet Mikhail Brezhnev? Yeah. Misha is my friend. You become friends with all these people. One time Dana Carvey and Dennis Miller were there. We're hanging out with David Bowie. We go out dancing with David Bowie. We're there. I mean, it was crazy. You meet everybody.
Right.
Danny Aiello became one of my best friends. He befriended me, and I hang out with him, and he was great to me. And
It was like your version of Club 54, or Studio 54.
yeah, it was just everyone was there.
Right.
Because Robert De Niro owned it, and Regis Philbin owned it, and I think and all these people. So everyone would go, So
I was thinking Club 55
So
when I said that.
I met Brian Hamill, and
Right.
Brian Hamill's Woody Allen's still photographer. So I became friends with him, and then years later, or maybe 5 years, he says, I'm there, and he says, he knew how I felt about Woody Allen. I said, he's why I became a comedian, and I used to do his routine. So he brings me to Michael's Pub. I knew all about Woody. Goes there every Monday.
That's where he played the clarinet.
Clarinet. So he brings me there, and he goes, I'll bring you tonight. I'll introduce you. So I'm very excited. So Woody Allen comes over. He goes, Woody, this is Jon Lovitz. He became a comedian because of you. And Woody Allen goes, oh, I finally influenced somebody.
Right, nice.
And I'm like, well, and I was kind of embarrassed. I go, well, I did your routines. Da, da, da. I said, oh, we have someone else in common we both love. I go, Willie Mays was my idol growing up. He goes, oh, Willie Mays, yeah, da, da, da. So Brian said, you want to come to the set? He was shooting some movies. So I go, and then I'm talking to Woody Allen, and Brian took a picture of it. It's at my house. I have a picture of when I met him on the set. So I said, I wore glasses like him, and I had LASIK surgery, so I don't have to wear glasses anymore. But then I did. So
what was the movie you visited him on the set? Just curious. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
I mean, he's so prolific. He's done.
It was some. Well, it was one of them. I don't remember.
Okay,
I'd have to think of the year. Huh?
Yeah, give them the year.
No, I know. I
You son of a bitch.
maybe 90 or 91 something. So I'm not sure though. I forget now. So we're on the. Eventually it'll come back to me. But
Okay.
we're on the set. So he said, "Hey, can I ask you for some advice?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "Well,
You're talking to Woody Allen.
Woody Allen, yeah." And I said, I go, "You influence me so much, and sometimes I'm worried like that people are going to think I'm imitating you." And I go, "But you had that with Bob Hope, right?" And he goes, "No, Mort Saul." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." When I started doing stand-up, they said, "If you just get rid of those Mort Saul mannerisms." You know?
Wow.
And then anyway, I'm talking to him stuff. So then Brian next day goes, "Hey, John," and I said, "Woody, thanks for letting me come to your set." He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Listen, anytime you want to come, just come." And I told Brian, he goes, "Oh, he never says that, you know." And then I got cast in a movie, which had no title at the time, Woody Allen Fallout Projects, but it became Small Time Crooks.
Right.
And it was me and Michael Rappaport and Tony Darrow. So.
I know in that one you were thinking about using this thick New York accent because you were kind of basing it on someone you knew that was a
Yeah, there was a guy named
guy.
Cha-Cha,
Yeah.
who was Tony, owns a restaurant in the Village.
Yeah.
He's on Wise Guys, or I think on Sirius XM, you hear him. If that show's still going, you go, Cha-Cha. And he talks, I remember I met him through Paul, he goes, Cha-Cha, he talks like this. "Hey, Kevin Pollak, how you doing?" And I'm not exaggerating, he talks like this.
Right.
"Hey, Cha-Cha, how's your knee?" He goes, "Oh, it blew up, I got an inflammation." And he talks like this. So I'm doing this scene with, Tony Darrow, great actor, and Woody, and Michael Rappaport, and Woody Allen and I are like this group of
small time crook.
crooks. So, well, they're all from New York. I'm from Tarzana here in LA. So I'm thinking, I want to ask Woody, I'm thinking I should do a character because I don't have a New York accent like they do. So actually, I have that sketch on SNL, the Californians. It's hilarious. And I talk like that sometimes, like I go California, which I didn't realize I did. My friends started going, "What's California?" I go, "What?" "Oh, all
right."
But I talk like that. Anyway, so I said, I want to ask Woody Allen if I should do it or not. And I would hear that people would be in his movies, and if he didn't like the performance, he'd fire them. Mm-hmm. So of course, my nightmare was, I'm thinking, oh, if I get fired.
I'll be the worst.
I'll
By
be
your hero.
Dead.
Yeah.
This is why I became a comic.
You would have killed you.
When I wanted to be Willie Mays, I'd be 12. My dad goes, "There's more to life than Willie Mays." Then I wanted to be Woody Allen. He goes, "Who do you think you are, Woody Allen?"
Yeah.
So now he hires me. So Helen Robbins is his producer. Helen, I'm in New York to the movie. I said, can I ask? I need to ask Woody a question. If I should do the character or not, because I don't want to be fired. She says, "Well, he can't talk right now." I go, "Why?" "Well, he's busy making the movie." I said, "Well, I'm in the movie he's making. Mm-hmm. I need to ask him a question about the movie before I start shooting. Is there any time I can ask him?" "Well, he doesn't really like questions." I go, "Well, what?" Like, he doesn't like questions. When they told me, they go, "Your DP is Chinese." He said, "Oh, good. He doesn't speak English. He won't ask me any questions."
Wow.
He basically hires people for the job and then lets them go.
Right.
Not totally, but a lot.
What sort of?
If the scene doesn't work, he'll go, "Oh, you know what? This isn't working," and then he fixes it. And it's the best because you go, "Woody Allen, he knows what he's doing." He doesn't know what he's doing. He's going to fix the scene. So
Right.
you feel so comfortable.
Right.
Like whatever he says, you go, whatever you want.
So did you do a couple of takes with the accent?
No. So what happened? I'll say what happened. So she goes, "What's your question?" I go, "Well, I don't know if I should do a character or not. These guys are from New York. I'm not." She goes, "Well, I just want to know how to play the part." She goes, "Well, he probably just wants you to be you." And I said, "Well, can I just
But you want to hear it from
Can
him.
I ask him?"
Yeah, you don't want to hear it
He's the
from him.
director. He's
Right.
She goes, "Well, he doesn't really like questions." So finally, I get to go on the set, and I see him. I'm like, I said, "Listen," I said, "Hi." I said, "Listen, I I know you don't like questions. I go, but please, can I just ask you one question? It's about the movie, just one, please. He goes, yeah, sure. I go, oh, okay. He had no problem. So I wish I'd do a character nod that I said the situation. He goes, well, as long as it's real. He goes, as long as it's real, but that's fine. So the next day I have a scene, there's no dialogue. And he took me, he says, the other guys had been working, so he says, listen, I want to tell you what I tell the other guys, which is, if you want to change anything, you can say whatever you want as long as it's about it, but say it however you want. I go, really? Because I'm thinking, I'm not going to change his dialogue.
Right.
But he goes, no, it's fine, which was shocking he said that.
Sure.
So we do the first scene, and he goes, now I know I said you guys can do whatever you want, but this thing is like 20 seconds, so we should kind of stick to it, so we'll do this and this.
Sure.
And I didn't have any dialogue. So the next day is my first scene with lines. So we're in this scene where we're tunneling to the bank. We end up in a cookie store, or something wrong, and I'm like, what are we doing here? And I'm like, oh, what are we gonna do? Now we don't have any insurance. It's ridiculous. We gotta do the thing, and I'm talking like this. So he goes, here, John, come here. I go, yeah. And he goes, listen, I think it's better you should just do yourself, because it doesn't sound that real to me. I'm not going to argue with him and say, no, it's a real guy that talks like this,
right,
because it doesn't sound that real. And he goes, but anyway, he goes, I said, okay. He goes, anyway, I just think it's better if you do yourself, because, guys like us, we're naturally funny, and we're already funny, we can do this. And I said, okay, thanks. So I'm relieved I have the answer to my question, and I don't want to be fired. Anyway, I go back to my mark, right, and I started crying. Like tears, and I almost lost it, but like tears like that, because I was so relieved. But also, he said, "Guys like us."
Yeah.
No, I've wanted to be a comedian since I'm 13. Now it's 29 years later. Guys like us, and then thinking of my dad going, "Who do you think you are, Woody Allen?" Now I have Woody Allen going, "Guys like us." I started crying, and because basically my idol just validated my whole life.
Yes, exactly.
Right. And I remember that night I called Dana. He goes, how's it going? I go, well, and I tell him the story. He said, guys like us. Dana got it right away. He starts screaming, guys like us, guys like us. I go, yeah, he said guys like us. He said guys like us, And Dana, idolized him too, and you did, and we all did. So, and then it was just fantastic. And I had one scene with him.
Right.
And then he kept laughing, and I kept making him laugh. And like 3 days later, he goes, hey, John, I just want you to know, I watched dailies, and I would keep saying to him, you're why I became a comedian. And I remember the first scene I had with him alone, he's telling me what to do, right? And normally, someone's telling me I'm like this. Okay. And you know me, but people that don't know me, they go, what's wrong with
Sourpuss.
What's wrong with John? And they go, nothing. Well, he looks like he's making, no, he's having a great time.
Right.
But because I'm just like,
emotional.
he's fine.
Yeah.
But they think I'm like, whatever.
Upset.
Yeah, but I'm not. But anyway, I'm not naturally always smiling. So anyway, he's telling me what to do. The whole time he's giving me directions, I'm literally like this.
like a strange person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't stop. I was like so thrilled. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not like that. Then I go to my marketing.
And,
I'm like, stop smiling. Jesus, I got to get into the scene. I was like so elated. And we do the scene.
You look like a serial killer, by the way.
Thank
when
you.
Make that face.
But we're doing the scene. It felt so in sync. I'd never worked with him. It felt so in sync.
Yeah.
Like I'd been working with him forever. I'm thinking, does he feel this? This is the new team. Doesn't he feel it? I go, it was like, I've never been felt that in sync with somebody.
Wow.
And he wasn't trying to do it, but because I imitated him so much and based everything, timing, I learned from him.
Yeah. Doing
his routines. I mean, I did. So, and then at the end of the scene, he'd be laughing. So 3 days later, he goes, listen, I just want you to know, he'd go out of his way to be nice, you're doing a great job. And he goes, and I saw the dailies, you're really funny. He goes, and I was laughing at dailies. I never laugh at dailies. I said, oh, thank you. And he goes, no. He goes, you don't understand. He goes, I never laugh at dailies. And I want you to know you were making me laugh at dailies. I was laughing out loud at dailies, and I was watching the screen. I could see myself laughing. I go, well, thank you. So I'm going, whoa, what a compliment. Because, the whole movie, I'm like, you're why I became a comedian. This is a dream
you just
come
want to
true.
live up to the fantasy.
So now he's going out of his way to let me know that he thinks I'm funny. And couldn't have been nicer. So because I never laugh at dailies. So, of course, me, being me, I go up to Michael Green, who was his camera operator, who used to be the focus puller. So I said, or maybe he was the DP now, but so I go, Michael, I'd met Michael before, a really nice guy. I go, so listen, so Woody said he never laughs at dailies. I go, is that true? He goes, yeah, hardly ever. And I go, oh, well, how many times? That's a comic, right? How many times? And he goes, in 17 years, he goes, maybe like 3 times.
Holy shit.
So, of course, I went, liar. No, so I was just thrilled. And then I'd be doing scenes in the movies, and we got rich. I had jewelry, so they're supposed to be interviewing us on 60 Minutes. So now we're rich, so I'm like going like this with my new jewelry in the scene, like my guys, they're idiots. I'm like going, how's it going? Yeah, good. I'm in charge of the insurance, and I'm showing off my jewelry, right?
Yeah.
So he starts laughing, and I'm like, fuck, I'm making him laugh. And I have pictures of the two of us like this. Just heaven.
Yeah.
Heaven.
Heaven.
Did you work with him ever?
I've not.
Well, you will eventually.
You think there's a chance, Johnny?
Well, you've worked with everybody else, yeah.
No.
No, it's just like
It's the
luck.
Yeah.
He goes, all right, him.
yeah, that guy.
You did work with Jerry Lewis.
I did.
Yeah, you've worked with people.
It's not important who I've worked with, Scorsese. You know what it is? It's time for Who Tweeted.
Oh boy.
Run it.
This is gonna go.
Celebrities have so much to say.
Who tweeted?
Is the game we're gonna play.
Oh, this is exciting.
Welcome to an award-winning episode of the Chat Show. It's time for Who Tweeted. John, stay with us.
I'm looking at you.
Okay.
Let's all do Jew profile. Go back to the wide. There it is. Oh, see, if you just listen to this show, you're missing this. Mr. Lovitz, this is a very exciting little game that we play right here in the middle of the show.
Is it called Who Tweeted?
It's called Who Tweeted.
A game, and we're competing.
Yeah.
You're going to
Bring it!
You're going to be playing against Kevin. Let me explain quickly how the game works. So one at a time, I'm going to read a series of 8 tweets. And all of these tweets were authored by either Tyra Banks, Paris Hilton, or Justin Bieber. Are you familiar with any of those people?
You're on the Twitter.
I know Tyra and
At
Paris.
Real Jon Lovitz.
I met Justin once.
Oh, all right. So then you know them all, and you've
SNL when they hosted.
Sure.
you've befriended Justin Bieber.
No, I said hi to him briefly. He was 16, and he was this teeny. I go, are you enjoying it? You okay? I was like walking out for him, like, they're not forcing you.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. I go, okay.
You understand the rules of the game, sir.
So
I have to say who, if it's Paris, Tyra.
as
He's
soon
gonna
as-
read a tweet.
I'm going to read the tweet. As soon as you feel you know who authored that tweet, you ring in by saying your name. I'll point to you. You have 3 seconds to say either Tyra, Paris, or Bieber. If you ring in and you get it correct, you win yourself 5 points. Ring in, you get it wrong, you lose 3. At the end of 8 points, unless we have to go to a tiebreaker, the winner will receive this $20 bill.
That's Andy Jackson.
Wow.
That's Andy Jackson.
Looks like I already won.
Fast as
Why would you put the money on the table like that? But you know what? Let's play anyway. Now we're just playing for fun.
All right. So, do you know the rules? Are you ready to play the game?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Who tweeted? Tweet number 1. Know the truth. Ignore the hate. Do your job.
Jon Lovitz.
Yes, sir.
Tyra Banks.
I'm sorry, no. It was your best friend, Justin Bieber.
What's wrong with this kid? Let me hear the whole tweet now. What?
Keep it moving, do good work, live positive, live for others, give back. That's what I'm about. Yeah. He's a lunatic.
Were you saying any of that crap when you were 18?
First of all,
You're like, Dad, can I borrow your car? And you say to your girlfriend, like, just keep touching it. I mean, who said any of this stuff?
all right, I want to get back to. I got to make a note.
Or anyone
Ask
blow
John
job,
about
like,
the girl.
what's
Yeah, I want to know more about Just Keep Touching It. Tweet number 2.
Tweet number 2.
Unpacking all my luggage. This is brutal.
Jon Paris Hilton.
That is correct. Very impressive, sir. Back in the plus column.
You're winning.
Tweet.
Still competing for parts in this. It's not just a game.
No, it's more than just the
Lovitz
20.
and Lovitz on the Jon Lovitz Vodcast Network. Kevin Pollak will be my guest. Not that we're competing.
Love it or leave it.
I have my own. Everyone does. Kevin's is much bigger.
We're going to talk about yours right after this.
Tweet number 3.
It's +2 to 0.
We should eat cake every single
Kevin.
day.
Tyra Banks.
I said Kevin. That means I rang in. And the answer is Tyra Banks. No!
That is correct.
Oh, it is correct.
I got it right before you said.
5-2.
I gave
You
you
have
the
to ring
answer.
in. You have to ring in. Tweet number 4. What do you want to do today?
Kevin Parrish.
John. Kevin John, I said. That's my new name. I changed my name to Kevin.
I'll let him take
Kevin
this one.
John.
Whatever it is, I'll let
John,
him take
Read the tweet again, please.
What do you want to do today?
Justin.
it. Put -3.
That is correct.
Oh, it's correct. 7-5. Starting to get it?
My name is Kevin John and John Kevin. So if Kevin says Kevin, he's actually saying my name.
I expect you to ring in that way for the rest of the game. Tweet number 5.
Pollock.
Getting ready to perform at the after party in Latvia. Excited.
John! Justin Bieber.
Nope.
I mean Paris.
I'm so sorry. Much like on Jeopardy, we have to go with
My
what you said
answer was
first.
Justin Bieber. I mean Paris.
It's 5-4. Starting to get it?
5-4.
What's your answer? Oh, I just lost points?
That's it. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
one. You ring in it-
-3.
Oh, so you're not even answering. Oh,
No,
okay.
no, it's a 1-point game. It's a
well, he's
1-point game.
played.
I'm ready
He's
to
got
play.
5 points. You have 4 points. It's anyone's game. Tweet number 6.
Tweet number 6. I'm going on Kevin Pollock's chat show. John, me. Point.
I want to give him a point for that. Tweet number 6.
Oh, wait, I have one more tweet. Kevin Pollock, the most handsome actor in the world. John, I said that. But do I get a point for that?
You lose a point.
But
for
I
that.
said he was the most handsome actor.
That's -1.
For disingenuousness.
I gave you a compliment. You took away a point. That's not fair.
It's completely fair.
Here we go.
Number 6.
Number 6.
Cheating back. You know what? Fuck it. $20. Let's keep playing.
He took the 20 again.
No, I'm taking it.
This time I'm saying fuck it. All right. Tweet number 6.
Me loves me papa. That's loves L-U-V-S.
Me, John. Tyra Banks.
That is correct.
That
You know how I knew? Ebonics. I'm on a show called Mr. Box Office. The whole cast is African American, but me, I've learned Ebonics. Is that racist? I don't think so. Me's loves me's papa.
DK works on that
Tyra,
show.
read a book. Okay.
You're working for Byron Allen?
Joke. Yeah, for Byron Allen. So clearly, I'm a racist. Joke.
Well, now you are in the lead
Right
by
in.
4 points.
You're ahead. It's 9-5.
How many points do you need?
It's whoever's in the lead when we finish. We got 2 tweets to go.
I thought you said whoever gets. Didn't you say whoever gets 8 points first?
No, 8
No.
tweets. Whoever's in the lead after 8 tweets.
Oh.
And here is tweet number 7.
Twick a tweet.
Here it is. This is forever.
Kevin Paris.
Sorry, no.
Fuck.
Oh no.
It's Justin, isn't it?
It is Justin Bieber.
Knew it because I'm closer mentally to 18 than you. You're an adult and I've never changed.
The oldest 9-year-old you'll ever meet.
Yeah, you know what? You haven't said the one question the whole time I thought you'd say. Do you know what it is?
There's still time.
Poop.
I
What's your
realize
fascination with the word poop?
The
when you
game
say it, it makes-
is just unwinnable for you at this point by a total of a score of 9-2. But the 8th and final tweet, I just want to read it anyway because it's fucking ridiculous.
Somebody's winning. I think it's
Just received the Best TV Celebrity Award at the Comedy Club Awards Show.
What? That's the lamest thing I've ever heard.
Just received the Best TV Celebrity Award at the Comedy Club Awards Show.
It's got to be
John
Tyra.
Paris.
She's the only one on TV.
Paris Hilton is the correct answer, and winning by just a commanding 14-2. Your winner and champion and proud new owner of $20 US, Jon Lovitz, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't I get another? Well, I don't see any $20. Where's 20?
We'll get you another one.
Thank you,
That's how
Sammy.
you play.
Celebrities have so much to say.
Who tweeted?
Is the game that we just played.
What is your fascination with the word poop? Poop. Why is it the one go-to that I can say that makes you laugh harder than anything?
Well, you know, it was funny when I was 5, and it's just still funny.
Uh-huh.
Poop. It's just a funny word. Poop. Poop jokes are funny.
Mm-hmm. Your most fun...
I did a movie, Rat Race, and everyone says, you know, the funniest line in Rat Race, when I'm in the van and my daughter's in the back, and she wants me to pull over. I go, no, we don't have time. She goes, but Dad, I'm prairie dogging it. I go, what do you mean? She says, I have to go to the bathroom. Oh, she says, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm like, no, we don't have time. Just, you know, go out the window.
Right.
She goes, but Dad, I'm prairie dogging it.
Right.
And I'm like, what's that? And then my son goes, well, you know, it's like when a prairie dog sticks his head in and out of the hole. Biggest laugh. It's a poop joke. She's
When you
prairie
read that in
dogging.
the script the first time, did you have to set it down because you were laughing
I
so
was dying
hard?
laughing. I said, this is the part I want to play. It's got the funniest joke. Prairie dogging. It had a poop joke. Andy Breckman wrote it.
It's also a Hitler joke, not minutes later, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't
That scene that was like a 20-minute setup. Andy Breckman, he used to write on David Letterman and on SNL, and he created the show Monk.
Barry
Great
Sonnenfeld
writer.
was a guest here. We talked about it.
About poop.
The movie Rat Race, Barry Sonnenfeld.
Barry Sonnenfeld.
Yes.
This is called an embarrassing senior moment on Kevin Pollak's chat show.
Really?
Yes, Barry Sonnenfeld. What did he have to do with Rat Race?
Look it up.
No, just tell me what you think. I want to hear.
He was either the DP or he directed it. One of the two.
Oh, really?
Yes. No?
But that's okay.
Who directed Rat Race?
Jerry Zucker?
Seriously?
Or Zucker? Yeah.
Cinematographer?
No.
I don't know
No,
what
Barry
movie
was
you're
on
thinking
Big.
of.
Was the cinematographer on Big.
It
DP
was.
on Big.
Right.
And then Wild Wild West. And
What guest did we have recently that
Men in Black.
worked on Rat Race? Somebody recently.
it wasn't Barry Sonnenfeld.
It was somebody else.
Barry's
though.
very funny, by the way.
Oh, I
Did you
love
notice
Barry.
that?
Love Barry.
But
And he's hilarious.
you just made a mistake, so I think I should get another $20.
Who was your favorite host? Some of your favorite hosts that came through the show.
I liked all of them
No, you didn't.
except for one. I don't want to say who. I did like all of them except for one. But to be honest, the biggest, you know, Terry Garr and Tom Hanks hosted my first year, and I became really good friends with them.
Right.
But honestly, the biggest thrill was when the people you grew up watching, like Charlton Heston and you know, Robert Mitchum, it was a thrill, you know. But you know, in the Saturday Night Live, they have on Wednesday you read through all the scripts. So there's a table with like Lauren. I sat at big there was 4 tables, but it was like a giant rectangle. I sat here. Dana was next to me. We'd always be messing around, goofing off like in school. And then Lauren was here, and the host was there. And the cast was around the table, and then the rest of the room was the writers, the set designers, the sound, everybody, every department was there. So anyway, Dennis Miller, you know, he'd be there on Fridays. He goes, why aren't any more sketches? Bop. I go, well, Dennis, hang around on Tuesday. I go, you want to be in more sketches? You got to hang around.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't do it, you know. So anyway, he'd be at the table. He'd be like, he'd always be grumpy. But one time there was a host. And I looked, and we were all really excited. And back then, you know, it was a few TV stars. Mostly it was the biggest movie stars, the biggest athletes, Joe Montana, Walter Payton, Wayne Gretzky, the biggest, right? But there was one guy, and I look around the table, and we're all doing this.
You're all making that
We're
goofy
all like
face.
this. Because we can't believe he's here. We can't believe it. And I look at Dennis, and Dennis, who's always like, he's like this.
Making a big goofy face.
Huge. We're all like this. And this, I'll tell you what it's like. We're all like this. And we go, and I go to Dana, I go, it's Kirk.
Douglas?
No, William Shatner.
Oh, Kirk.
Captain Kirk.
Right. Well, that's, of course, the
We
famous
were
moment.
over the moon because we grew up watching him. You know,
Sure.
Star Trek was huge. I mean, I remember watching it, and it was Friday nights at like 8 or something on I think NBC. I don't know, Friday nights at 8, and my sister would go, Star Trek is on. We'd be screaming.
Yeah.
We loved it. I mean, he was so dynamic an actor. You know, it was amazing. And I actually, you know, we were thrilled, and we were doing a sketch with him. And I actually said, hey, I don't know if, well, you probably know this, but a lot of people don't know. William Shatner's Jewish. And I found out he dated a cousin of mine. So I said, hey, you know my cousin June. He goes, oh, June's your cousin? I go, yeah. So I said, listen, I have tickets to see Jackie Mason. You want to go? Because I'm thinking he's Jewish. He'll enjoy it. So he goes, yes. So I went with William Shatner. We went to see Jackie Mason.
Right.
And we're sitting there, and I said, why do you think Star Trek was just such a huge phenomenon? And he goes, you know what he said?
No.
I have no idea. No, not like that. But he goes, I have no idea. I go, you don't? Because I was asking him, why do you think, what was it about it? He goes, I have no idea. And I go, oh. I go, well, I think I know what it was then. He goes, what? What? I go, you want to know? He goes, yeah, what? I said, well, it seemed real. Like, that's what it would really be like. And I go, in the relationship between the characters, because it was in the future, but they're always fighting like real people. I go, it seemed real.
Right.
Now you watch it, and the effects seem so, like, cheesy.
Sure.
But back then, it was like, they just disappeared. They were, it seemed completely real.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I think
but he was a great guy. And I saw him recently. He was on Hot in Cleveland, and I was guesting on the live show. And I've been on that 4 times, and I was next door rehearsing for this other show. So I went over, and I met him and Shirley Jones, and I was very excited to see them. Hi, John. How are you? He's well, you know him really well. You're in his book and all that. But we were thrilled. William Shatner, everyone was.
Well, let me ask you about that, because not only, aside from the fact, rather, that you were thrilled, that was a moment in time for William Shatner's career. Because of that Saturday Night Live sketch, You People, Get a Life, which became the name,
Robert
name of the
Smigel
book.
wrote it.
Because of that sketch, and the other one where he's in the mirror, honey, look at this. I'm really good looking, right?
I remember
that appearance on SNL literally changed the course of the rest of his career, because before that, he was a joke. He wasn't a part of the joke. He wasn't in on the joke. And when he looks at you in that sketch...
I remember you said to me, I just remember this, you said to me, John, have you seen William Shatner doing Lucy and this guy with diamonds? I said,
Right.
No. He goes, you have to see this.
Yeah.
And I think you sent me the tape.
Well, he thought he was being hip and funny and cool when he did that, but everyone made fun of him. They didn't know that he was in on the joke. It wasn't until he did that Trekkie convention sketch on SNL where your character, do you remember what your character asks him something specific about an episode?
No, he's at the Star Trek. He goes, well, it's good to be here. It's all these Trekkies. He goes, and I just want to say one thing. Get a life.
Right.
Because it was just a silly show I did 20 years ago for 3 years. He goes, I mean, what do you people do? And then he points at me, and I have like on the Spock ears.
Right.
He goes, like you, how old are you, 30? And I go, he goes, have you ever even kissed a girl? And I go,
Yeah, it was a great moment.
I made up that joke just to go like this.
Yeah, just to lower
It
your
got
head.
You get a huge laugh.
Well,
but right before he did, he goes, we're doing a sketch now. He wanted to apologize to his fans. He goes, it's just for fun. It's a little, so don't get offended, but here it is.
You mean he said that to the live audience?
Oh, yeah. Because he was worried,
Before they went on air.
He got,
Yeah.
No. He says it on air in his monologue.
Way before that.
Before that sketch.
Right.
He goes, some of the stuff's a little...
We're going to make fun of. But by the way, he may not have understood the impact it was going to have, because it was literally the precipice during that monologue, because it all didn't explode in time, honestly, until that sketch was over.
But are you saying when he did Lucy and this guy with diamonds that he was trying to be funny?
I think he was trying to be hip and cool and different, because I've talked to him about it. And he said, no, at the time, it was weird, to step out. And then this character comes out of that one, and there's 3 of me, and they're all... And he just thought it was really cool and sort of avant-garde. But I don't think anyone understood that it was even possible for William Shatner to have a sense of humor, especially about himself, until he did that fucking sketch. And it was incredible. It was an explosive... And he's become hilarious, hipper, more valid, more relevant.
And he's really funny.
Unbelievably funny.
That commercial he does with Kaylee Cuoco, when he drops her off,
Yeah.
and then 20 years later, he goes, 20 years later, it's his father dropping off his 9-year-old daughter, he shows up 20 years later, he goes, how'd it go? And just the way he played, he's brilliant, because he's in there going, how'd it go, asking, but at the same time, you realize he's going I kind of dropped you off 20 years ago, I haven't seen you, so how'd it go?
No,
I can't do it. He did it perfect, and it's really funny.
His one-man show.
It's one line, and it's hilarious.
William Shatner's World, Welcome to It, or something like that. truly ridiculous, and also very commenting about his own self and
Narcissism.
Well, that, but also how he came out of it a little bit and was able to comment on it, instead of just being stuck in the middle of this.
What did he say to you though about? I think he said about when he pauses like that. He goes, they're hanging on what you're going to say. Like he knew he was doing it. He did it on purpose. But what did he say?
I couldn't remember my lines.
That's what he said?
Yeah. He said, the truth is, Kevin, I just paused because I couldn't remember the next line.
Really?
Yes. He had developed it into
Oh.
a thing, and it became a signature thing. And he did probably learn that people do hang on when you create that pause. But initially, it was like a soap opera. There were 30, 40 pages of dialogue. I was always talking. That's what the show was, me talking. It just made me laugh so hard.
And why were the other people mad at him so much?
Because he was a narcissistic prick. He really,
Oh.
yeah. You know how
Really?
you were at your home in
How I'm a
Malibu.
narcissistic.
You were starring in a movie, and you said, "I don't want to come in and get Maurice LaMarche."
Yeah, but there was a reason. There was some.
there?
No, it sounds like that when I said it. I realized that, but there was a reason.
You were out at Malibu. It's a long drive.
No, they were supposed to pay me and they wouldn't. I said, well, then forget it.
Aha.
It was something like that.
Was this for High School High?
Also,
Yes,
I thought
it
the
was
scene
for
was
High School High.
perfectly
Can we-
fine.
can we
They
talk
kept
about High
changing
School?
every little thing, and I was like getting. I said, it's fine. Just
Weren't you
leave it.
starring in this thing?
They had me. Yeah, but they had me looping almost the whole part. And I said, this is ridiculous.
Right. High School High. Mm-hmm. You remember this film?
Vividly.
You want? Can we ask a few questions about the film? If you
You can ask me anything.
all right.
But that I wasn't narcissistic. You son of a bitch.
What year was this film?
Although now when I
1996.
say that, I do not understand why I wouldn't go in and do it. Now,
Exactly.
I don't know.
The year was 1996 when it came out. And the question is?
The question is,
Sam, your question from you?
yeah, from the late Sam Levine, Levene.
Yeah. You got the question right here. The name is, did you take it in the rear? Poop, 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 joke, poop. Why are you laughing? Oh, I thought a poop joke wasn't funny, and look at Kevin. Laugh, laugh, laugh.
What was it like doing comedy with Louise Fletcher?
With Louise Fletcher?
Yeah.
Oh,
The great Louise Fletcher.
Well,
Nurse Ratched.
She's one of the nicest, sweetest people. Of course, I was a huge fan to work with her, and she's a great sense of humor.
Because people just knew her for the
She's very close friends. with-
Academy Award winning role as Nurse Ratched.
Yeah, and then I was thrilled to work with her. And then I knew her, one of her sons, Andy. I knew, so we had something in common. And she was just.
But she was hilarious?
Yeah, well, she just played it so straight, you know.
Right.
But she has a great sense of humor. She's like the opposite of Nurse Ratched. She's like the opposite, which was like just this cold-hearted,
Unfeeling. yeah.
and she's the complete opposite. She's like the warmest.
Sometimes people are
sweetest
such good
person.
actors, and if you don't
Very funny.
see them on a talk show, you
Yeah.
don't get any sense of who they really are.
Yeah, very, very nice, very warm person. And,
Right.
And
Tell me about your podcast, and then we're going to wrap things up and get you home. I don't want to take more than 2 hours of your time.
well,
so.
I'll stay here.
Tell me
forever,
about your new podcast.
Not that I'm narcissistic.
I can't
but
wait
we
to-
are talking about me.
Can't wait to come on your show. When do you do it? Do you do it from your theater?
I do it at the Jon Lovitz Comedy Club and Podcast Theater, but we built our own studio within the club. It's called, and anyway, you can see shows at Jon Lovitz Vodcast, VOD, Vodcast Network. That's the latest term. I didn't make it up. Not unlike, that's the ticket. I didn't make it up.
Is it a
But
video?
it's because you see it too.
Is
Like
it-
this would now be called, this is called your podcast, but now they call it a vodcast.
Because it's video?
Yeah, because you see it. So
It was
this is
called a vodcast.
That's the word they use now. This would be a vodcast.
5 years ago. We have one more question one more tweet from
Technically advanced.
Avi the TV Geek. Mephistopheles or Hanukkah Harry?
By the way, we're going to be talking to Gene Simmons in August on stage.
The tongue?
Yes, I did Dana Carvey on it live. We did Gary Busey. And then in the studio we had Tia Carrere and Steve-O and this girl Heather McDonald who's on the Chelsea Handler show as the head writer.
People go to iTunes and
I'd
they
love to have
dial
you
up
on
your
it.
podcast. The name of
It's
it
on
is?
that. I don't know if it's on iTunes. It's on. If you go to Jon Lovitz Vodcast Network, it's on there, and then it goes up to I think YouTube. You can see it.
You should put it on iTunes.
It's supposed to be on iTunes. I don't know if it is. I know Mr. Experience.
How often does it? Does
get
a new
my
episode
hat.
come on? Do you do it once a week? Do you do it once a week?
Once a week, yes.
Okay, good. Here's a tweet 5 for you from Avi the TV at Avi the TV Geek. Mephistopheles or Hanukkah Harry? Those are your choices. This is another tweet 5 questions rapid fire. Which
Mephistopheles.
Jumping from a building or imprisoned in a psychiatric ward?
Jumping from a building.
Sleep with Al Jean or Mike Reese? You have to
Jumping
sleep with
from
one.
a building.
Siskel or Ebert?
Oh, Siskel. He liked me. Ebert didn't like me.
Frank-
God rest both their souls.
Frankenstein or
I
Frozen?
saw them arguing about me.
What?
It was surreal.
What do you
I
mean?
grew up, I was watching my TV all the time.
Yes.
Then I start working.
Right.
I did a movie, My Stepmother's an Alien. They review the whole movie, and at the end, Siskel goes, well, you forgot to mention one of the funniest characters in the movie, which was played by Jon Lovitz. I thought it was hilarious. And then Ebert goes, well, I didn't mention him because I thought he was obnoxious. Not Jon Lovitz, but the character he played. Well, I thought he was really funny, Gene Siskel says. He goes, well, I didn't. And I'm watching this at home in New York, and I go, my God, there was huge. I go,
Yeah.
Siskel and Ebert are arguing about me?
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
And they ended up doing The Critic, an episode of The Critic.
They came on and did the...
Yeah, as themselves. It's really funny.
How much fun was that?
Well, I wasn't there. I didn't get to record my part with them.
Right.
This coming from the guy who liked Carnosaur.
But it was very funny.
Just for you.
Carnosaur?
That was one of the digs that Siskel says to Ebert. Or no, the other way around. Ebert says to Siskel.
On the Critic.
On The Critic, they're arguing, and he attacks his taste by saying this coming from the guy who liked Carnosaur.
Right.
What was amazing about them being on it was the Critic was
All right.
making a satire of all those critics. It was satire really of them.
Yeah.
And then they came on it and made fun of themselves. And it's very funny, and they sing a song. And they get in a fight, and they're going to go, we need a new partner. So they're each trying to make me their new partner. And then they end up making up and singing a song. It's very funny. I mean, Al Jean and Mike Reese, it's their show.
But you wouldn't sleep with either of them, apparently.
No.
Can we talk a couple
both
of minutes?
married.
Can we talk a couple of minutes about the funniest person you and I have ever known?
Dana?
Phil Hartman.
Oh, Phil? Not so funny now.
Apparently, you can talk about it now.
Well, he'd laugh about it.
Of course.
Well, I mean, he was like my brother. I mean,
Exactly.
let's end the show with the most painful thing that ever happened in your life ever.
but-
the murder of your brother.
Well, I didn't.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Didn't necessarily want to talk about the case, but rather, when he was in a sketch,
Phil Hartman, I mean,
there was no one, honestly, that could commit outside of the center of the sketch. He could be like fifth lead in the sketch of 6 people.
well, the thing about Phil, first of all, he's from Canada. He moved here when he was 9. And even though Canadians, they're very nice people, very humble.
Right.
He never thought he was that good. He got into Groundlings. He was a graphic artist.
He made a ton of money as doing album covers.
Yeah, his
Right.
brother is a manager of John Hartman of Crosby, Stills and Nash and the group America. So
Sure.
he says to Phil one day, he goes, "Hey, I need why don't you draw an album cover for the best of America?" So he said, Phil just said, "All right." So he drew something. He goes, "Something like this," and his brother goes, "Something like this."
Right.
Then he did the logo for Crosby, Stills and Nash. And Phil, he could do anything. He went to the Groundlings with a group of people for the birthday party.
Oh, wow.
Tom Maxwell told me the stories. And so they had intermission, and they're all backstage, and they hear the audience laughing. And they go out, they go, "What's laughing?" No, there's no one's, it's intermission. And they said, "There's Phil on stage doing stuff, entertaining the audience." They go, "You want to be in the group?" Okay. He could just do it.
Holy
He
shit.
was the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
In 1984 Olympics, it was here in LA, so they had an Olympic Arts Festival. They funded 9 theaters to do shows. They picked the Groundlings. The Groundlings picked Phil, and called a Chick Hazard, a character he did, which was like a spoof of like Robert Mitchum and Humphrey Bogart doing those detective characters. And then I got they needed an understudy for one of the parts. Phil picked me.
Right.
And I was like, Tom told me, I go, "Phil Hartman knows who I am."
Yeah.
And at the time he said, "Well, I was in the Sunday company for a year, and they had to vote you into the main company." And I didn't get into it. He goes, "Well, let's do this and see how we work together." I said, "How'd you pick me anyway?" He goes, "Well, it was Phil's idea." I go, "Phil knows who I am?"
Right.
And I remember the first time I saw Phil, I'd never met him, but he was like a legend. Everyone at the Groundlings was broke. Phil had a house. Phil had a new car. He had a job. We were all dead broke. He comes walking in the hall in his costume, ton of charisma. He was like a star then. He was the star of the Groundlings.
He had a Sinatra swagger that it was not an act or a put on. It was part of who he was, and it was so organic. You didn't think, well, this guy's being a jerk. This guy's trying to be a big shot. He just was that. He was an embodiment of, like you said, sort of happiness and success. Yeah.
Yeah, and he comes walking down the hall, and I went, oh, hey, Phil, I'm Jon Lovitz. He goes, yeah, John, I know who you are. I'm like, you do? He goes, yeah, I've seen your work. I think you're great. I go, God, well, thank you. I go, thanks for recommending me to understudy the part. He goes, oh, sure, I think you'll be fantastic. And he kept walking. He was in his costume.
Yeah.
It was like meeting Humphrey Bogart in the costume. Hello, son, how are you? Good to see you.
Yeah.
I go, and he walked by, and I went, and he was so huge in my mind. I remember thinking, oh, my God, Phil Hartman just spoke to me. I mean, he was the star of the Groundlings. And then I kept saying, I want to see your house. I want to see your house. So he brought me over, and he goes, I've never had anyone in my house before from the Groundlings. You're the first one. I go, you're kidding. I go, why? He goes, well, I don't know. I'm private. So I did the show. I get in the Groundlings. So I'm so grateful to him. I'm like, Phil Hartman, Phil Hartman. He was like 9 years older than me. And I idolized him. He was like my big brother. And
so
for 14 years, we became close friends. And I recommended him to SNL.
Yeah, let me jump to that moment.
I didn't get him the job, but it helped.
But let's jump to that moment. I do want to make a point of that, because one of the things I wanted to talk about when I was hoping we could talk about him was that I knew he was a hero of yours first. I knew he was older than you, but I knew he was a made man at the Groundlings.
He'd been there 11 years.
But you got SNL before him, and there was a moment in time where the quote is, you said to Lorne Michaels, if you think I'm funny, you got to see Phil Hartman.
I said, if you think I'm good, you should see Phil Hartman. He's a genius.
Yeah. I think that's pretty spectacular to be able to
do
that for a hero of yours, someone that you'd become great
Well,
friends with.
I wanted to be like him. If you said, well, do you think you're better than Phil? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
He was the king of the Groundlings. He could do anything.
Right.
I mean, in fact, when I got the Groundlings, I felt I remember Saturday Night Live, I said to my dad, I go, I feel really weird about this. I go, Dad, they've been there forever. I mean, I looked up to Phil Hartman, Tim Stack, Lynn Stewart, who was like Missy Vaughn in the Pee Wee Herman Show, and Tress MacNeille. Everyone knew. They were the four best in the group, and we all looked up to them. They'd been there for years.
Tress MacNeille, is that one of the big voice people on The Simpsons? Yeah.
Yes, she's like the queen of voiceover. She could do anything. She was in Chick Hazard. She was the best comedic actress I've ever seen.
Wow.
She was as good as Phil, but female.
Right.
She was the female Phil. She was amazing. Mm-hmm. And the two of them together was just like magic.
Yeah.
But she didn't want to be. She goes, I like doing voiceovers. I go, but Tress. And anyway, the next year, after my first year in SNL, they said, well, who do you work well? So I recommended the four of them. I go, these are the people you should hire.
Right.
These are the people I looked up to. I don't know how I got it before them. It was crazy. So, to me, I recommended them, and even Lorne said, the two. He goes, they're the best by far, but he goes, they're in their late 30s. He goes, they're too old. I remember I read them getting to Phil. I said, well, if you think I'm good, you should see Phil Hartman. He's a genius. And he goes, well, John, how long has Phil been in the Groundlings? I said, 11 years. He goes, well, then, if he hasn't made it by now, don't you think there's a reason? I said, well, I guess. And I thought about it, and I go, and I remember going, I don't get it. How can he be this talented, and he hasn't? And the reason basically was he didn't want it, He didn't want to be famous. He didn't really believe in himself.
He wasn't ambitious.
No, and he goes, I like my life. I write scripts. I have a nice life. I don't want to be famous. And I would go to his house.
He co-wrote the Pee Wee Herman Big Adventure, no?
Yeah, and and he was Captain Carl on the TV show, and he and Paul Reubens are like best friends. And I said, I always felt like my thing was to Phil was like, I idolized him. I'm going to be like him, and he didn't believe in himself. Right. So I felt like I was the guy. Like, come on, what do you mean? You're Phil Hartman. I mean, what do you mean you don't think? And he got offered the show, and he turned it down.
SNL.
Yes. And then about maybe a week later, he said yes. So I went to his house, and I go, so Phil, you turned it down and then changed your mind. Is it because of what I said, like you should do it? He's like, no. I'm like, oh. I'm thinking, oh, it's me. So I go, well, what made you change your mind then? He said, well, look, because I'm crying. He said, Joel Silver. I said, why Joel? He goes, what? And we'd been in the Jump a Jack Flash. Penny Marshall like came in the middle of it to direct it. And she goes, who's good at improvising? But I think Phil got it outside of me. So I go, Phil, I'm in that. He goes, I'm in it too. But I would talk to Joel Silver about Phil all the time. I go, you got to meet my friend Phil Hartman and and we do this thing. And Joel had already, somehow I knew him first, then I introduced Phil to Joel. So we would do our back and forth thing that we do, like, you know, why for 2 cents? Yeah, what would you do for a nickel? Just cross that line. You wish I hadn't. Why you? You know.
Yeah.
So he goes, Joel called me and said, you know, you're crazy not to do this. You got to do it. So it was Joel Silver that convinced me to do it.
Right.
But I remember I got the show and Lauren said, I got you, you know. Oh, no, no, that was about Robert Smigel, which Robert goes, no, Dennis got me recommended too. I go, oh, please. Because Lauren said to me, I got your Smigel back. Because he goes, what do you think of Robert? Should I bring him back? And I said, well, you know, he drives me nuts, but I think he's a great writer. And Robert now goes, no, Dennis too. I go, why would Lauren ask Dennis? You didn't write anything for Update, you lie. You know, that's how people are. So anyway, but Phil got it. And then the interesting thing about Phil, though, is he did Chick Hazard once. Phil was just do characters in the show. He was also hired as a writer. But I said, Phil, why aren't you doing any of your characters?
Yeah.
I don't know that. Phil was a leading man.
Yeah.
At the Groundlings.
Right.
But he wouldn't do any of his leading characters in the show. He would just do the supporting roles. And he could have written himself.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know.
Well, as you said, and Dana and others,
I don't know. It was baffling to me.
very, very competitive situation. And if you didn't compete with the same sort of veracity and
Well, what would happen, we'd be on the show. You felt like you were auditioning every week.
Yeah.
So if you had a lot to do in the show, it felt great. If you didn't, you like one show, I had maybe one sketch. And I remember after, everyone's all happy and celebrating, I'm like this.
Yeah.
And I remember Phil and Dana like, come on, John, snap out of it. But I go, I'm trying, I know. But it felt like, I don't know why, it felt like, not that you were lighting the show that week, it felt like your career was over. It felt like that. It just did.
yeah. But Lauren Michaels.
It wasn't. Well, we would pit people against each other. And
Right.
I mean, I remember the second year he goes, you know, you have a lot more competition this year. I'm like, what do you mean, you know? And I'm in my office, and I remember at Brillstein Gray was our managers, and Phil and I were there. Phil already was going to be in the show, and we met Dana, who hadn't been cast yet. And we met Dana, and he leaves, and we both go, oh, I hope that guy gets the show, Dana. He's so nice. Oh, he's so nice. Oh, I hope he gets it. We liked him immediately. And Dana, I'm on the show, and that's the one time I met Dana. Then I meet him at his audition. Now you got the cast watching his audition at NBC. In the middle of the audition, a siren at NBC on the soundstage, a siren went off, like an air raid siren.
Inside the theater.
Right in the middle of his audition.
Yeah.
No, it looked like a hangar or something. It was just some empty room. I don't know what, like a hangar. A siren went off. Jim Carrey, Phil, and Dana all auditioned right in a row. And Jim did his thing, and I'm thinking, and I knew Jim for years. I go, he's so funny. I go, but how do you put that in a sketch? It's like he's a one-man show. And I said that to Jim later, and he goes, I said, I felt bad, Jim. Then you went on this. I go, I felt I'm an idiot, you know. And he goes, no, you're right. He goes, I was like a one-man show. He goes, I get it. And then Phil, you know, I was like, Phil, and they go, John, go up there with Phil. And you can see it on YouTube. You can look it up. You watch it now, you go, you see me now, I go, oh, there's my son. And then Dana, the siren went off. But anyway, Dana gets the show, and I'm in my office. I have an office. He walks in. He just sits down. I go, yeah. He goes, hi. I go, hi. He goes, you know what, John? I want to work with you. I thought to myself, I'm going to hitch my wagon to a winner. I'm like, what? He goes, I'm hitching my wagon to a winner. Let's write something together. And I'm like, what do you do? I didn't know him at all, you know.
Yeah. But you watched his audition. You knew what he did from that.
Well, kind of, but I'd never worked with him.
Right.
But and then whenever we did try to write stuff together, we couldn't get it on. And Danny goes, we're like, he won't let us. We're too strong together. I mean, we'd write stuff together. It was funny.
You couldn't get it on?
Yeah, that's what I got from that.
See, who's doing a poop joke now? Simulating the butt with your finger? Or are you saying Dana had a vagina? Are you saying I do?
Pull it.
What are you, 5? So immature.
That's for you. Tell us about your podcast, and then we got to wrap up, honey pie. Lovitz on Lovitz?
Lovitz or leave it.
Lovitz or leave
Which
it.
is a phrase that my dad made up. He would tell me that. He goes, yeah, when I was a kid, people go, oh, Lovitz, do you love it? He goes, Lovitz or leave it. You know, when he was a kid. And I
Love
thought it was
that.
funny. So I call it that, and I interview, I just interview different people in show business, like you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you love doing it. I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. It's a chance to hey, you want to do a talk show?
And
It's fun.
You're saying go to Lovitz or
Jon
Leave
Lovitz,
It.
Jon Lovitz, vodcastnetwork.com.
There's got to be a way to make that longer. There's got to be, probably want to stretch that out.
Jon Lovitz, Kevin Pollak will be my guest, vodcastnetwork.com.
.com.
I'm interviewing Gene Simmons live at the club.
When is that?
Do you want to do it in the studio or live?
Whatever's
in front of an
best for
audience?
you. When's the Gene Simmons?
The end of August on it. I don't know what. I think it's August 27th. Jesus.
Go ahead and look it up. Let's plug it away.
Please,
How
Kevin.
big a fan of The Godfather are you?
It's either the 24th or the 31st. I'm not sure.
All right, we'll get back to it.
Oh, I love that movie. You mean because of City Slickers?
Well, yes, but I was always curious
Q.
if you're as big a fan as the character was.
Not like that. No, that was based on a guy, John DeSimio. You remember him at Castle Rock?
I do.
And he would always image this guy that worked at Castle Rock, which did City Slickers and City Slickers 2, Billy Crystal's famous movie. And he would always quote The Godfather. And then my manager at the time, Mark Gerwitz, was friends with, he would always do lines like that. So I kind of based it on that. But that first look when they go, in City Slickers 2, and I play Billy's brother, I'm obsessed with The Godfather. So Daniel Stern goes, does he still do that Godfather thing? And Billy's like, yeah, don't ask him to do it. So then I'm in the house, and he goes, hey, who killed Mo Green? And you see Billy hit Daniel Stern. He's like, don't get him started. So they cut to me, and I go, my eyes light up. And I was imitating Mark Gerwitz. Could you say The Godfather? And you'd say it to him, and he'd go, and then he would just start quoting it. Right. What do you mean? There was this kid I grew up with. I watched Lee Strasberg. I watched like 100 times do it over and over. But I understood that. It was funny. But I love that movie. That's one of those movies, though. It comes on, and you look at it, and the next thing you know, you can't not watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Unless you have somewhere to go. It's just so perfect. It's crazy great. And the best thing, I'll end with this. I worked with Alan Zweibel, madam. We did a special on Fox.
Right.
Called the Please Watch the Jon Lovitz special. I figured I'll get people to watch it. So we do a thing from The Godfather, and my character is a fantasy scene where I'm in Vegas, and there's Mo Green, and then
You got Alex
he gets
Rocco?
shot in the eye and he hits the other eye. No, Alex Rocco. They cut to the audience, and there's James Caan and Robert Duvall going, high-fiving. And James Caan heard about it. He goes, I want to be in it. I'll do it. I goes, I'll get Robert Duvall. And he got him, and they did it. And I was just like, they go, what was your favorite part of that special? All the jokes? And I go, no. Robert Duvall and James Caan are my special. Mo Green gets shot, and he goes, oh, not the other eye. And then Robert Duvall and James Caan go, this.
High five.
The Godfather and my special. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was.
Crazy great. Thrilled.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. I know you want to wrap
Why don't
up.
you just
I'm
flip me
sorry. I'm sorry. It's just. came to
Don't
me.
apologize.
This is the craziest interview, because we're friends. I don't act like this on the shows. We're friends. It's not even like a real thing. I mean, it is, but it is.
Oh, no, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Are your
sure.
other friends like that?
Nope.
The Dustin
Dana
Hoffman
must have been like
sketch you did on Talk Soup when John Henson was still the host. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, what happened was I happened to be at a CAA at the time, was my agent at the time, and I was up there and I met Dustin Hoffman. He's walking around with Murray Shiskel. So somebody introduced me to him. Oh, how are you? He was walking out with a baby. Maybe it was his granddaughter. I don't know who it was. So about 8 months later, I see him again. He goes, Dustin goes, oh, John. Of course, he was one of my idols. We go, what do you want a career like? I'd always say, well, Jack Lemmon or Dustin Hoffman, right?
Sure.
Because they did comedy and drama, and also Dustin was Jewish, and I go not a typical leading man, offbeat leading man. I go, well, I could be like that. So anyway, that's what I dreamed of.
Sure.
So I ran him 8 months later, and he said, you know, I didn't know who you were when I met you, and I told my kids that I met you, and they went nuts. They go, Jon Lovitz. He goes, my kids love you. And then, anyway, befriended me. He goes, you got to come to the house. And then anyway, there's a thing on Talk Soup, and John Henson was the host. He was like, I'm not eating till Dustin Hoffman comes on this show.
Right.
I'm not eating. Then they did a scene where he's in the hospital. He goes, I'm dying. I'm not eating till Dustin Hoffman. And anyway, Dustin called me. He goes, my kids, you know, he's doing this thing, and my kids said, Dad, you have to go on it. You have to. You're an idiot if you don't. You have to do it. All right. So he goes, anyway, will you come on it with me? I'm like, yeah. And I didn't want to do a sketch on Talk Soup, but it's Dustin Hoffman. I'm like, yes. I learned from the Jim Brooks thing. I'm like, yes. So I go on there, and we're doing this, and I play as doctor, you know. But
you play as
like,
lawyer.
you know, I don't particularly want to be on a sketch on Talk Soup, but I go, hello, it's Dustin Hoffman. I get to work with Dustin Hoffman. I'll do it here.
Yeah.
So I did it and stuff, and then he kept wanting to do it over and over and over, and I'm like, we got it, you know. And they go, he's a perfectionist. He's a perfectionist, but he goes, let's do it again. We can make it better. Let's just keep going, you know.
Yeah.
And it was fun to do with him. And
If I may quote from it, because it's a line that I say all the time to myself and anyone who's nearby. You come on and you played his lawyer. You played Hoffman's lawyer.
Oh,
and then,
I didn't remember. I thought I was a
That's
doctor.
right. And then, because Dustin Hoffman says, I brought my lawyer to make
Wake
sure
up.
you stop bothering me. And then John Henson says, Jon Lovitz is your lawyer? And you give the most perfect deadpan delivery of, things are a little slow.
See? Oh. Real fans. Real fans remembering funny. Wake up.
Wake up, Kevin.
Damned if I don't say that anytime someone's like,
Oh.
you took that job? Things are a little slow.
Things are awesome.
When you're ready, I want you to look into that camera. It's time for your Larry King game. Here's the rules. You give me a bad Larry King impression, and then you, as Larry, mention something about yourself that nobody needs to know, and then you go to the phones that the city that you're going to is funny sounding. It's helpful. It's the Larry King game. It's that moment where Larry offers a little bit about himself, and then he goes to the phones. So you're looking at the camera.
I got him ready.
Okay.
How are you? I'm Larry King. I have blood in my stool. We're talking to Poughkeepsie, New York. Hello?
Larry
But
King game by
really,
me, John.
No, but
You really do have blood in your stool?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. That's a perfect button, my friend. It's the poop button
But
that I was hoping for. All right. Thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you,
Honestly
Kevin.
and truly. It's great to have you here at this table. Finally, asked the guy
you
50
finally-
times.
never gave me a date.
All right. Sit there uncomfortably.
Kevin, when are you doing my show? When do you want me to do it? No answer.
30 seconds while I wrap this up. What's the over-under on how long before he says something?
8 seconds.
8 seconds. All right. I want to thank all of you for joining us.
Hello.
Dr. Chen, Jamie, and Sammy here inside the
Lady.
studio. We're missing J-Mac, who's still, I think, on the mountain.
Kevin Pollak, alcoholic. Kevin Pollak.
On the Whitney. Justin, Josh, David, the Mandel, back in action.
Poop.
Angie Johnson on makeup. Thanks for filling in for Samantha, who apparently we'll never see again. And Elaine Ewing and her social media maven. Write to us at contact@KPCS.com. Until next time, and as always, get out of my face.
Good night, America.